And the last 2 years I came up short, and I really wanted to win today. So to get that start and get out front, get a clean air, I was loving the track, man. It was absolutely perfect out there. This Phoenix ATV Yamaha, man, it was ripping on all four wheels. The acid engines was just an animal all day long. Elka shocks to my Impact Solutions. They were hooking up great, man. I love this place. I love the flow here at the John Penton. This place has got it all. It's so special. It's got the good flow. It's got fast. It's got slow. It's got the fields. You got technical ravines and off cameras and good little hill climbs. I mean, this place has got something for everybody to keep on your toes. And man, I almost threw it away on the last lap. I don't know if the lap rider was broke down, where if he stalled it, I came up over a knoll, and he was just sitting dead in the water, and I had all this momentum, and when I landed, I tried to dart off the track and squeeze it between two trees, but I just plow drive the tree right with my front bumper, and lost some time there, and just got the bike off the tree, got untangled, got back going, and I was able to bring this thing home. So all in all, man, blessed and great day. We're pumped.
Hi, Carson.
Hey, back on the box, man.
We're here at John Penton. I'm super stoked with today. Was riding really good. This is my favorite time to race. This weather, just here in Ohio, got a bunch of friends, family here, and was trying to run down the bullet, but God, he was flying, and got really close to him. About center off a cliff, and I just kind of like calmed down, like, you know what, let's just ride smart. I don't really need to go out there and get hurt. And yeah, then I just started scaring myself. I started like braking early and checking up when I shouldn't, and just kind of got in my own head. And there at the end, kind of started picking it back up, but it was a little too late. And hopefully we can be a little closer to Bidwell at the next one, or maybe in front of him. I don't know, but we'll see.
You know, we were rolling. WF and I were on the move, and then last lap we cooked. Yeah, rough start, got pummeled, 20 feet out of the line, and from there we just picked them off. You know, it was good. After the disaster I had 3 weeks ago, we threw the kitchen sink at this thing, and you know, we were making good progress, closing in on them until that. You know, it's a rough day out here, especially on this track. But no, you know, good day. Felt better. You know, just need to be a little more comfortable. You know, we're closer, but it's good. I'm glad to be here. Good points today. You know, pumped to have WF. You know, I had a goat shark behind me, if you will say, and I was like, dude, he like latched on, and I mean, man, we were just together like Velcro there out there, and it was good. It was fun to have you back.
The trophy grabs the champagne. Boys, hold that up, and let's hear one time your top 3 overall. Here from the Wiseco John Penton for 2025 award. And that is to pop some bottles on the GNCC podium. Some champagne showers here at the Wiseco John Penton. everybody. Here we go. Your top 3 on the overall charts. Let's hear it for them one time. Cody Pivarotto, Carter Demidovich, and Kenny Hawkins. Here we go. One more thing for them left to do, and that is to pop some bottles here on the GNCC podium.
We're proud to bring you this live presentation on Racer TV of the 50th anniversary of the Progressive Grand National Cross Country Series, presented by Specialized, an AMA National Championship. 50 years of world premier off-road racing. 50 years of battling the gnarliest woods racing on the planet. It's time to start a new chapter. The next 50 years starts now.
"50 years of racing GNCC, and the season finale has arrived. Crawfordsville, Indiana, for the iconic Ironman GNCC. We've crowned a national champion in Bryson Neal. We know that much. A number 2 plate is up for grabs between Walker Fowler, Hunter Hart, and Josh Merritt. And, of course, the red-hot Wyatt Wilkin in the mix as well. All that, all the players, we're here. Let's tie a bow around this season. Let's go racing. GNCC on RacerTV.com starts now.
Are you ready to go? GNCC Racing!
Round number 13, Johnny. We made it. The 50th season of GNCC. It's been a historical season, just in the fact alone that we've been 50 years of racing GNCC. And what better way to end it with the season finale here at the Ironman?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, with the XC1 ATV Championship wrapped up here today, Bryson Neal getting that job done already does not take anything away from the absolute spectacle that is Ironman GNCC. We've got the huge battle coming in that XC1 class over the number 2 overall position between 3 riders, separated by only 3 points, with Hunter Hart and Walker Fowler tied and Josh Merritt sitting just 3 points behind them. And we know there's going to be battles all over the racetrack. So many riders looking to really put a stamp on the end of this 2025 season and show that they are ready to come out swinging in 2026, Mikey.
Yeah, it's interesting. We always, you get to this point, you look at the scoring. If you look at the stats or the scoring from this season, you say, oh, it's wrapped up. We have nothing left to race for. That couldn't be further from the truth. You take Hunter Hart into account. He's coming off a season where he didn't have the success that we're used to seeing him have. Wasn't up to par for him, in his opinion, either. Now the number 2's in front of him. He could capture that, carry that into 2026, all the momentum. And then Walker Fowler, the ups and downs that he's had this year, kind of in that same boat. Hey, if I can get a number 2 before next season, I want to go get it. And then, of course, we know Josh Merritt, he's going to let it all hang out. He is going to be a force to be reckoned with. And I'm going to throw Wyatt Wilkin in that mix as well, coming off, just a great season. Another move in the right direction for him. Some lows this year for sure, but Wyatt Wilkin wants to come out swinging.
Well, it's obviously we've talked about that's kind of the big 5 there here as you look at points. That's your top 5 in points. But there's so many riders behind them really looking to kind of, again, make their mark on this 2025 season. It's been 12 rounds. Maybe they haven't quite got the finish or the win or the podium that they've wanted, but today's a chance to do it again in front of an absolutely huge Ironman GNCC race crowd. Yeah. The fans have come out in droves again. They always do. This place is absolutely packed. It's going to be racing action that not to be missed, and we're going to have every minute of it here, but it's going to be exciting today for sure, Mikey.
It is. We want to show some love, obviously, to the XC2. Alex Tiemann wrapping that up, that XC2 championship. And correct me if I'm wrong, I think you mentioned Braxton Gross maybe moving up to row number 1.
Yeah, I think as of this morning, still uncertain, just looking exactly what those guys wanted to do, but it is possible that we may see Braxton Gross and Alex Tiemann 1 and 2 in that XC2 championship battle this year. Alex locking that up 2 weeks ago at the John Penton GNCC. Coming into today, they may be lining up on row 1. These are riders that we've seen well up inside the top 10 overall today, or this year on any given day. And these are riders that in the mix with a good start could be, in a battle for a podium or maybe even a win today. So a little bit of extra, kind of excitement for those guys coming to the front row and finding out, hey, is this where I want to be and need to be for next year? Alex Tiemann will be needing to move up to that XC1 class next year because in the top 15 overall 2 years in a row, he will be forced to move up to XC1 for next season. But Braxton Gross would have the opportunity to either go XC1 or race XC2 again next year. So we're going to find out how those guys stack up against our seasoned veterans here today.
It's going to be a good one to watch. Plenty of storylines for us. We want to see what these guys are going to be facing as far as track conditions in the course. So for that, we'll throw it to Jackson Burrell, who's with our trail boss, Jared Bolton, for a Yamaha Racing track description.
All right, thanks, guys. I'm indeed here with our trail boss, Jared Bolton. Jared, as we roll into our final race of the year, Ironman, what can we expect?
Well, you can expect more of those awesome trails that make Ironman so popular. Yeah, this is a huge race. Everybody knows that. And it's not just about the spectators. There's a ton of racers that come out to this. And it's pretty obvious why. Once you get out there and see how beautiful the woods are at Ironman Raceway, you know why so many people want to come be a part of this event. The track here's pretty fast. There's not a lot of tight stuff, big field sections, but the woods, they're so much fun. The best dirt in the country, in my opinion, is right here on this piece of property. Good flowy trails, lots of ups and down hills, which is crazy. You're coming here and everything's flat. You'd never think that some of the biggest hills we ride all year are right here on this piece of property, but sure enough, good up and down, off camber, fast, flowy stuff. Great racing here at Ironman.
You can't beat it, and of course, Ironman Hill as well. There you go, guys. That's what you can expect here at Ironman.
All right, thank you, Jackson and Jared, for that Yamaha Racing track description. Now that we've seen what lies ahead for these riders out on this Ironman GNCC racetrack, what they're going to be facing for the next 2 hours, we're going to let our man Mikey Waynes head down, do some 10-second calls, get our racing action underway. We're going to bring you every minute of it live right here on Racer TV right after this.
Everywhere but the seat. The seat is leather.
Alan, we get it. You love your bike. We do too.
That's why we're America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
But do you have to wedge it into everything?
What? I don't do that. This reminds me of my bike. The Wolf was about the size of my new motorcycle. Have you seen it, by the way? Happy birthday, Grandma!
Really?
Look how the brushstrokes follow the line of the gas tank.
Hey!
Hey! Brought my +1. Jamie.
Every generation believes they've invented the best way. With age comes wisdom. We've come to realize that every piece of knowledge is learned, passed down from those generous and patient enough to teach.
Take a look.
Legacy. It's not about leaving something behind to be remembered by. It's realizing that the future lies within the next generation.
Let's call it a night. All right.
The nature of true progress is humbly building something bigger than yourself. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. This is our legacy.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive, Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized E-Turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
It's burned in from them, so it's all really good over there. Bring you back around, little piece of trackside pitting, back in the woods again. Drop down into that little creek section, and that'll bring you back up to the pro pits, over to the 12-mile mark, then you're headed out onto the motocross track. Remember, you guys know how it works. You stay on that motocross track. There's no cutting corners. There's no 25-foot rule on a motocross track. Work your way around that, out and out the finish, and a little bit of motocross on the water truck roads, over one tunnel on the bottom, then you're headed up the downhill of Godzilla, back out the gate at the top of the hill, come back where you started at. So a lot of really, really good stuff out there. You're riding the overwhelming majority of the race course. You're really only missing the couple little bike-only pieces here and there. It's going to be a really good day. So good luck, be safe, have fun, and pay attention to those arrows out there.
Racers, now that you've had an opportunity to inspect the race course, have heard the race procedures and a description of the race course, if you feel that either you or your machine is not prepared, then now's the time for you to withdraw for a complete refund of your entry fee. No questions asked. It is your responsibility to operate your machine in a safe manner, maintaining control at all times. Extreme caution is required when approaching areas with a high concentration of fans. Do not take unnecessary risks that endanger the safety of fans. You will be penalized for reckless racing. Fans, due to the nature of GNCC racing, there is no fence barrier around the race course. It is your responsibility to keep yourself and your children a safe distance from the race course. Never turn your back on oncoming racers. Use extreme caution when crossing the race course. And remember, stay off the racetrack. For the safety of everyone, unauthorized drones are prohibited and will be confiscated. Finally, unauthorized pit vehicles are prohibited and may be confiscated. Motorcycles, minicycles, and electric mountain bicycles with a throttle are prohibited. Absolutely no pit vehicles permitted in the woods or on the racetrack. Crew members are prohibited from using pit vehicles during the race. Thank you for your cooperation. Have fun and race safe.
Well, thank you for that voice of Griff Cotter. And with that wrapped up now, ladies and gentlemen, we'll ask for your continued undivided attention with your machines shut off. And for a very special presentation, we'll turn the microphone over to our event director, Mr. Tim Cotter. Tim?
Thank you, Mike. It's always good to be back with you. Today I get to do what I like to do most, and that is honor some of the men and women that have fought for our country, worked within our community, and served the United States of America. Each week, we take one of our Moto heroes, and the Moto hero may not necessarily be the guys on the front row, but the Moto hero are the men and women that served our country, and we have many of them on the starting line here today. And today, most of you know this individual. In fact, he's a father of an XC1 rider. He comes out of the state of Ohio. He was part of the Ohio National Guard and the reserves. He served there proudly. He defended our country. When chaos was in your community, he served to settle the chaos. He's been nominated by several friends and family members, and they say possesses an excellent leadership skills, dynamic interpretational skills, and a strong mentoring ability. Ladies and gentlemen, would you help me honor Josh Wilkins as our Moto hero? Josh, come on up here. Josh Wilkins. There he is. As soon as I said that name, you guys already knew who I was talking about because his family members said he possesses excellent leadership and communication skills. If you've ever talked to Josh, if you've ever spoken to Josh, he has no problem communicating with you. Josh, well, it's proud for us to present to you this Moto Hero plaque. This is your #1 plate for the year. We appreciate all that you do for our communities, and you've served our country, and you've done it well. You will be presented this American flag from the Columbia Flag and Sign Company. You will also receive a gift certificate from them. You will receive $250 gift certificate from AMSOIL. And ladies and gentlemen, more than ever, can you please put your hands together for our true Moto hero, Josh Wilkins. And now, ladies and gentlemen, if you would, please get in an attitude of prayer. I told you earlier, everything we do at GNCC Racing is founded on fun, family, fairness, and this part is our faith. We just did the American flag, and soon we will sing the national anthem. But listen to the words of Ricky today, because it's going to be a bit before we hear that again. It'll be mid-February before we hear these words from Ricky that puts us all in a great attitude and ready to go racing. So it is my honor to introduce to you the vision of our bobblehead doll that is available now at Riders Registration. We have a Ricky Towery bobblehead doll available with proceeds going to our emergency fund. Ricky, give us the words.
Thank you, Tim. And let's go to the Lord this afternoon. Let's have a word of prayer together. Heavenly Father, once again, we thank you for bringing us all together safely for this final weekend of the year. Lord, we ask that you would watch over these riders, that you would keep them safe this afternoon. We thank you for the Shaver family, for letting us use this property to have some fun on. Continue to bless that family. Lord, we do thank you for all our military men and women, the ones that serve in the day and the ones that served in the past. It's because of them that we're standing here free, having fun out here in the middle. Thank you for each and every one of them. Do be with our leaders at the high level and the local level, that they would make the right decisions for our country each and every day. And our local policemen, firemen, and paramedics, and all our communities across the United States every day. Keep them safe and watch over them. Lord, we know the holiday seasons are just right around the corner. First, Thanksgiving is going to get here. Help us spend some time with our families. Be thankful for what you've given us each and every day and all year long. And then a few weeks later, Christmas will roll around. Help us remember what that's all about. You sent your son to us. He grew up and he died on the cross so our sins could be forgiven. We thank you for that and everything else you do for us each and every day. Later on today and tomorrow, we'll start heading down the road going back home. Take us all back home safely so that one day we can get back together like this and we can have some more fun. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you for that, Ricky Towery. And now as Ricky Towery will make his way over to turn one. By the way, if you've been racing with us, Ricky has been on the outside of turn number one. This weekend, he returns to the inside of turn number one. So again, Ricky will be on the inside of turn number one. As he makes his way there, we want to invite a special guest up here. We've got a guest singer to sing our national anthem for us. Miss Dolly Parton made her way from Nashville early this morning. And we'd like to invite Dolly Parton up to sing our national anthem. Please hold your applause. Hold your applause. She's a professional. She's used to this. So, Miss Dolly Parton, are you prepared to sing the national anthem today?
Well, I am so honored to be here with all of you. But, you know, I've been under the weather a little bit, and I'm just not ready today. But I want to wish you all the best today. Have a great day, and thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. You guys make some noise. Dolly Parton, she sure has some big heart, Dolly Parton. So, hey, with that wrapped up now we'll get serious. If you have not XC2 guys, I appreciate you. If you're on that XC2 line, you're going to lead us by example. If you want to step up to that XC1 line. And as for the rest of us, please stand at attention if you're able. Remove your hats and cross your hearts as we honor the greatest nation in the world with the playing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
just about ready to set it off now, and as we do that, we want to welcome everybody watching at home on racertv.com. As you have enjoyed a little bit of the broadcast already, we are now ready to introduce our starting row for the XC1 Pro Class. Riding to the line in accordance to points, the number 1 and your 2025 champion out of Bidwell, Ohio, riding aboard the Phoenix Racing Yamaha, the Bidwell Bullet, Bryson Neal. Up next, the number 6 out of Newfield, New York, riding aboard the Fly Racing Quadtech HHR-backed Yamaha, Hunter Hart. Rolling to the line next, the number 2 out of Rogers, Ohio, riding aboard the Kenda Fly Racing B&R and WFR-backed Yamaha, Walker Fowler. The number 4 out of Akron, Ohio, riding aboard a B&R Motorsports GBC and Merritt Racing-backed Yamaha, Josh Merritt. The number 3 out of Hillsboro, Ohio, riding aboard the SBR Pierce Performance and Kenda-backed Yamaha, Wyatt Wilkin. The number 5 out of Elk Ridge, Maryland, riding aboard the B&R Motorsports Kenda and Fearless-backed Yamaha, Stephen Harrell. Up next, the number 18 out of Acme, Pennsylvania, riding aboard the Action Off-Road Kenda and Custom Access-backed Yamaha, Jay Shadrod. The 712 out of Waxhaw, North Carolina, riding aboard the Pierce Performance Action Off-Road Phoenix Racing Yamaha, John Glada Jr. The number 9 out of Casca, Pennsylvania, riding aboard the GBC Elka Moose Racing JMR-backed Honda, the Cobra, Jared McClure. The number 10 out of Sunbury, Pennsylvania, on the Action Off-Road Amsoil CB Racing-backed Yamaha, Chris Borich. Up
next, the 521 out of Waverly, West by God, Virginia. Riding aboard the Ober Moose Racing Parts Unlimited and Lone Star backed Honda, the Gator, Adam McGill. Making his last appearance on the national stage, Indiana's own, the 703 out of Petersburg, Indiana, on the Action Off-Road Maxxis and Lone Star Racing backed Yamaha, Austin Abney. The 246 out of Walker, West Virginia, on the Sturdy Vant Racing Maxxis and Moose Racing backed Yamaha, Brandon Owens. The 609 out of West Hampton, New Jersey, riding aboard the Yamaha, Tyler Marlin. The 707 out of Green Bay, Wisconsin, riding aboard the Pep Performance Tuning and Walsh Racecraft backed Yamaha, Max Lindquist. The 171 out of Salisbury, North Carolina, riding aboard the Phoenix Racing Yamaha, Grayson Eller. Making his XC1 debut, the 223, riding aboard the CST Fly Racing and Sunoco Fuels back ride, Braxton Gross. And finally, the 311, making his XC1 debut out of Waterford, Ohio, on the B&R Motorsports Pierce Performance and GBC backed Yamaha, Alex Tiemann. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your starting row for the XC1 Pro Class. And as our riders take their lines, all spectators must be behind the white stringer line. All spectators must be behind the white stringer lines. Thank you, guys. DJ Judd exits the Mobile Entertainment Activation Transport, hops into the Yamaha R Max 1000, throws on the gold sparkle helmet, the gold celebrating 50 years of racing GNCC. So if you're here, baby, you're a part of history. That's pretty daggone cool. And this is where we like to say, DJ Judd, remove the meat. As DJ Judd makes his way off of the starting line, all eyes will fixate on the inside of turn number 1, where the maestro, Ricky Towery, will take the reins of this race. And we go as Ricky goes. And Ricky Towery now lets our riders know 1 minute. 1 minute until we're ready to go Ironman GNCC Racing. As Ricky now looks down at his watch to keep an eye on the time. And we wait with bated breath for the waving of the blue flag. And there it is. Blue flag waves, blue flag waves. Shut them down, shut them down, shut them down. Shut them down. Shut them down. Waiting on you guys. There we go. All right, now I got to ask you, Ironman GNCC, are you ready to go GNCC Racing? Yo, that's pretty good, baby, but I'm telling you, 50 years of racing GNCC, and this is the season finale. You got to get loud and proud. I'm going to ask you one more time. Are you ready to go GNCC Racing? 10 seconds for row number 1, the XC1 Pro. Bang, and they're off. As our riders jockey for position, Bryson Neal, Robin's racing. And it is going to be the 703 of Austin Abney in his last race in the state of Indiana
as a full-time GNCC pro, can he get it done and put it on the box here in the home state? Here we go, row 2, 10 seconds. B&R Motorsports Whole Shot Award up for grabs. Keaton Henderson, Dalton Keys, Andrew Bonovsky, Andre Williams, Elijah Edmondson, Kenny Schick, Alex Elioff, Jeremiah Wolf, TJ Barrett, and a fist in the air, 97 on the machine. Couldn't grab that helmet sticker. Oh, we turn our attention to row number 3, College A. Wait on the signal here from Ricky Towery. There it is, 10 seconds. Talon Stout, Andrew Adams, Trevor Meadows, Ryan Wilhelm, Caden Lambruno, Gavin Mann, Zane Nyer, Sawyer Boland, Triple Exo, Cooper Craig, Andrew Smallwood, and 4-4-1. That is going to be Andrew Smallwood. Almost on cue right there. Grabbing the whole shot, an early lead as we turn our attention now to the Vet A 28 plus. Ready to roll. 10 seconds. Tyler Griffith, Dirk DeCerci, Cody Burnworth, Dasson Como, Jack Smith, Sam Bunch, here Yez Denholt, Cade Vanderpool, Rusty Deckard, Alan Blavos, Justin Ratliff, and no doubt about that one, that is going to be the 179 of Dasson Como out of Madison, Indiana, on the Honda, getting it done early. As we turn our attention now to the Junior A 20 plus. Pushing one off to the side, trying to get her fired up. 10 seconds. Junior A 20 plus, David Machisco, Connor Brandt, Michael Worth, Ryan Hendershot, Jeremy Ladon, Colton Kusha, Trevor Furby, Briggs Lizelle, Joel Kagan, Brett Wilson, David Witt, goes a little wide, leaves it open in the 2-1-4, stole his lunch money. That's Trevor Furby out of Bellington, West Virginia, on the GBC-backed Yamaha, grabbing that whole shot. Took one from him right there. Senior A 40 plus. 10 seconds. Carl LeBlanc, Martin Whitty, Ben Dunlap, Mark Thompson, Paul Girk, Matthew Lundwall, Zachary Phillips, Chris Conklin, and the Marlboro man, Todd Muscola. Side by side, that might have been too close to call. I think, from my view, it looked like the 719 of Chris Conklin out of Sisterville, West Virginia. Grabbing that whole shot right there. 10 seconds. College B, 16-18. Trenton Asher, Zaid Kyle, Brady Torres, J.N. Mittner, Alan Darlington, Trey Leitzman, Barrett Childers, Aiden Hayes, Connor Humphreys, Austin Harshbarger, Eli Edgar, Jaden Jones, Graydon Hurst, Logan Phillips, Evan Bridgewater, and the, maybe 649. That was Austin Wilson out of Avon Park, Florida. Grabbing that whole shot, an early lead right there as we turn our attention now to the Junior B 19 plus. 10 seconds. Bryson Carsey, Griffin Poor, Coley McCord, Colby Davis, Charles Posey, Andrew Adams, Ryan Beebe, Evan Young, Brendan Lears, Josiah Newton, Trenton Biskin, Camden Schmidt, and the 5.87 of Adam Safel. Making that inside to outside line work right there. A little tangle up in the turn number 2, but it's back to business quickly with the Vet B 28 plus. 10 seconds. Tanner Davisic, Zachary DeNoble, Mark Delahalt, Stephen Lyon, Dylan Cruisenberry, Barry Nicholson, Eric Baker, Jared Manners, Paul McCloskey, Andrew Lucas, Cody Wolford, Daniel Hash, Brandon Carter, Joe Rutherford, and looked like maybe 868, that might have been Amy Dunlop. Couldn't get a good eye on the helmet sticker, but a good lead nonetheless. As we reset Senior B 40 plus. 10 seconds. Aaron Delancey, Dale Brown, Jason Noble, Craig Wilson, Josh Shaner, Clifton Ware, Jason Targan, Joe Dehart, Nicholas Ringer, Robert Perry, Jeremy Flood, Jason Triplehorn, Michael Zagel, Robbie Inquist, Robert Stevens, and that's gonna be the maybe the 608 of Chad Wallace there out of St. Clairsville, Ohio. Starting line is good there. We still got one guy here trying to get her fired up. So don't cross there in turn 1 or turn 2. That is going to be a hot track, hot track, hot track. Still trying to get one pushed off to the side. We're going to take a short break, get in a word from our sponsors, and we'll be right back with more from the Yamaha Racing Ironman GNCC.
Everywhere but the seat. The seat is leather.
Alan, we get it. You love your bike. We do too.
That's why we're America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
But do you have to wedge it into everything?
What? I don't do that. This reminds me of my bike. The Wolf was about the size of my new motorcycle. Have you seen it, by the way? Happy birthday, Grandma!
Really?
Look how the brushstrokes follow the line of the gas tank.
Hey!
Hey! Brought my +1. Jamie.
Every generation believes they've invented the best way. With age comes wisdom. We've come to realize that every piece of knowledge is learned, passed down from those generous and patient enough to teach.
Take a look.
Legacy. It's not about leaving something behind to be remembered by. It's realizing that the future lies within the next generation.
Let's call it a night. All right.
The nature of true progress is humbly building something bigger than yourself. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. This is our legacy.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized E-Turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the 50th Annual Progressive Insurance Grand National Cross Country Racing Series. This is the 2025 Yamaha Racing Ironman GNCC. My name is Jackson Burrell. I'm going to be alongside Johnny Gallagher and Zach Heron to bring you today's action. Of course, you've already heard from Mikey Waynes. You'll hear from him a little bit later, but for now, Zach, it's good to be back here at Ironman.
Man, it is so great to be back here with GNCC Racing and back at Ironman. 2 events in a row now at the Ironman Raceway facility where we have had amazing weather, maybe a little different in temperature-wise, but man, what a fantastic Ironman we've got in store this weekend. Let's show you exactly how things got started off with our PM ATV race with our specialized start recap, honoring our Moto hero, Mr. Wilkin there, Shark, I believe, as he refers to me as, and so Shark, our Moto hero, but man, the flag flew, and look at this, up the inside, drag race to the line, and it's going to be Austin Abney just edging out Wyatt Wilkin for the whole shot. And you see a couple of different position swaps back there, a couple of new riders in the XC1 class as well. And one thing you're not seeing on your screen, way in the back, looks like Walker Fowler way far in the back as well, but Josh Merritt, the last rider around turn number 2. Your XC2 class, look at that, getting up on 2 wheels, leaving that inside open, and it looks like that might be the number 97, grabbing the whole shot there for your XC2 class. And
I believe it was Adam Grandin, 997 on the helmet, 97 on the machine. A rider that does not always race it with us here in GNCC, but getting a very quick start in that XC2 Pro-Am class.
Fantastic. Thank you. We've been trying to find the name on that. I came in. The 97 looked solid. They were pumped up to grab that whole shot as well. We take a look at our Yamaha racing track map. And this is going to be a good Ironman course. A whole lot of different variants between some field sections, some deep woods as well, Jackson, mixing the speed with the technical aspect of GNCC racing.
Yeah, no doubt, Zach. Up on the podium, that's been one of the big things that we've talked about today is just how much speed you carry around this Ironman course. And it's only right. Indiana, known for having the flat fields, and we always say, we make a joke of it, this is the few elevation changes that you see in the whole state of Indiana right here at the Ironman Raceway.
You know, and guys, you mentioned that the 703 machine of Austin Abney out front, a special day for him. This will be his last ever GNCC as a full-time XC1 rider, kind of softly, quietly making that announcement. So what a better way to start it off. Home state boy, often called the King of Indiana, baby. He just rules the Indiana woods here in the IXCR series and out front and leading the way early. Obviously, Wyatt Wilkin on the number 3, making the move, getting up into that point position around Abney here at our next camera shot. But he is off to a very fast start, and we expect to see him in the mix here today.
Looks like McGill, a couple other riders catching some air up this hillside. Looked like Bryson Neal had worked his way up until about the 4th place spot, and kind of some separation between this top 4 group. There we see Wilkin, and wow, he has opened it up quite a bit over. There is Abney. Looks like Neal potentially in the number 3 ride now.
And then Brandon Owens on the 246 machine, followed by the Gator, Adam McGill. Then it's Mr. Headlights himself, Jay Shadron. Hunter Hart there on the number 6. Just behind him is Stephen Harrell, then John Galata Jr., Chris Borich, Josh Merritt trying to work his way back. Has actually gotten around Walker Fowler, getting hung in those ruts there. Then it is Jared McClure. Looks like Alex Tiemann and Braxton Gross, 2 riders joining that front row, formerly battling for that XC2 title, settling that just 2 weeks ago, jumping to the front row to try their hand here with the big boys this weekend.
Yeah, I was a little hesitant to say Brandon Owens because he had the same moose gear as I saw Alex Tiemann in earlier today. Like we said, that's one of the special parts about Snowshoe. Obviously, it's the end of the season. Everybody's excited to kind of put a final period on the season, but we do have some riders jumping up into other classes, making some debuts, making some returns for one-off races as well. Really adds another layer of excitement to Ironman GNCC.
Absolutely, and as if we didn't have enough excitement coming in here today, it's Ironman, baby. This place is absolutely packed to the gills. The fans are fired up. They are here, they are out in droves, and they are cheering these riders on. Folks, one thing we're going to talk about a lot through the show today, Bryson Neal obviously already has this 2025 overall championship wrapped up. He is working his way towards the front, trying to add another win to his 2025 tally. But the real battle within that XC1 class and overall is that battle over the number 2 spot. 2, 3, and 4 in points, separated by only 3 points. Hunter Hart and Walker Fowler tied for that number 2 spot and sitting just 3 points back. Josh Merritt. So those boys are going to be absolutely thrown down. Interestingly enough, we saw both Fowler and Merritt at the very, very back off the start. They've made some moves to move forward, but they're still several positions behind Hunter Hart. So right now, Hunter Hart controlling that number 2 position in the overall points for the season.
Yeah, and that's what these guys are looking for. They want those individual numbers headed into 2026. And you have to think on a day like today, Bryson Neal already wrapping up that championship. You go back to the old saying, the size of the fight in the dog. And I believe that's what we're seeing here with some of these riders wanting to go out of this 2025 season on a high note.
Guys, we're getting a little update from Gabriel Nod, one of our visiting riders from Canada, comes and races with us. Hasn't joined us too much this year. Actually filling us in that Adam Grandin is one of the FMSQ Canadian riders visiting here for Ironman, grabbing that XC2 hole shot. So we knew he doesn't always race with us, but that explains the 97 on the machine, 997 on the actual helmet sticker and the registration. So he's a visiting rider from Canada, and he was very quick off the start to grab that hole shot in that XC2 class.
Yeah, fantastic start to approximately 2-hour-long race, getting a great shot of our open field sections with our Yamaha Racing live drone. And man, this is always so much fun to watch, this overhead bird's eye view, getting to see the different way, Jackson, these riders set up the corner, some of them sweeping in early. And right now trying to see, is that Neal at the top of the screen?
It actually was Neal there going into the woods, and then McGill and looked like Owens possibly battling there. So we've got a lot of battles going on inside the top 5 as they head into some tree cover. We've got great shots from our Yamaha Racing live drone, but it does appear, actually that is Austin Abney and Owens there, so that would be your 4th and 5th place spots on the racetrack. They are out there absolutely pushing the pace, but Wyatt Wilkins starting to open up a little bit of a gap. We saw him put in a charge, get to the rear wheels of Bryson Neal at our last race, and then Bryson Neal got the memo and able to charge down, and now here you go. So there is your second or third place rider on screen. That is Neal. We do believe the number 3 machine of Wyatt Wilkins still up front. Then it's Austin Abney. And all over the rear is Brandon Owens, a rider we've seen just seemingly getting stronger and stronger throughout this 2025 season. And he's really starting to find his pace, and he's putting heavy pressure right now on the home state favorite. Oh, almost clipping that inside pole. We got to pause there, but that is just showing you all the moves he's trying to make. He's up the inside, but Abney closes the door. That is tight racing right there, boys.
That's as close to drag racing as you're going to get here at GNCC, and these guys not willing to let off. Great camera work there, showing the different ways you can approach these corners, Johnny, and maybe not quite as nimble as what you see on a motorcycle, but these top ATV riders still able to kind of manhandle and maneuver these ATVs around.
Yeah, it's a lot of kind of slide jobs, or slideways,
yep,
as our man Zach Heron would call it. So there we see that is still, I believe we are still missing shots of our leader out front, Wyatt Wilkins. He's getting far enough ahead that unless something happened, and we don't want to speculate, but we do believe he is still out front. There is Adam McGill now there in the number 5 spot. So your top 3 of your top 4 we're catching on camera here, but we are missing out front Wyatt Wilkins. Unless we get an update that something has happened, we believe that's Bryson Neal in the number 2 spot. Okay, we are being told confirmation Wyatt is still out front. So the battle you're watching on screen is the battle for 3rd. It looks like right now Austin Heavy's still hanging on to it. But man, Brandon Owens is trying absolutely everything to get around him. Now, looks like Abney able to stretch it out a bit. Again, give this guy some extra love. If you're out there in the woods of Indiana this weekend, this will be his final race as a full-time XC1 rider. Talking with him before the race, he said he's going to keep a couple of ATVs, doesn't really even plan on racing locals next year. Hey man, growing up can be hard. He's building a house. He says he's just dedicating all his time, energy, and financial resources to that. And he wants to get that house finished up, going to take a year off of racing. And he said at this point, he's pretty confident in saying this will be his last hurrah as a full-time XC1 racer. May come back, race some locals, maybe even race some GNCCs in the future, but doesn't see himself doing much, if any, racing at all in 2026. So we will bid farewell to a rider that's been a huge part of the GNCC series for many, many years, starting as a youth rider, amateur rider, working his way up. Already has some great finishes here in GNCC. I got to tell you, we've seen him on the podium already this year and last year as well. But the biggest thing is he is so strong in Indiana. Wouldn't be shocked to see him up there today, and what a way to go out.
Yeah, no doubt, what a way to go out. But one thing that I've learned, Johnny, over my few years here is it's hard to stay away from GNCC racing. So I'm sure in a couple years, maybe even just a couple months, we'll see him playing around out here with us again.
Well, you know, Austin's in that unique age situation. He's 27 years old, so he's got a couple years till he's ready for that 30-plus class. But nonetheless, you know, we've seen riders, Cole Richardson, perfect example, come out, mix it up, and still running up front. Look at this. We got battles, and it looks like, to me, that appears to be, that's some XC2 battles right there. I think that was actually Kenny Schick out of that XC2 class. Now we got some more XC2 riders coming by. So we've seen our top XC1 riders through this section already. This is now the XC2 riders. Big shakeup in XC2. Your top 2 riders that have really kind of controlled those top 2 positions throughout much of the season, both moving up to XC1 this weekend. So that really opens the door for some new riders to battle for wins and also overall podiums. Name at the top of that list, Jeremiah Wolf. You know, he's been very strong this season. He's had a lot of podiums, and we expect to see him running strong, but it really just kind of reinvigorates a lot of riders when they know there's like 2 more podium spots up for grabs than normal, because Braxton Gross and Alex Tiemann have been absolute fixtures on the GNCC podium this year. So again, just a little bit of life breathed into some of these guys coming into today.
Yeah, we talk about the somewhat monotony that can come with running a series. Obviously, every round's different conditions, but it does seem like oftentimes it's the same riders that we see, especially in those top couple of spots. And so, like you said, new life breathed into these classes, and you can see that. We saw it in some of our youth podiums as well today. Some riders even saying, I knew I had a chance today because so-and-so we moved up to a different class. So it's something these riders think about, and to be able to maybe get on that podium for the first time or get back on the podium for the first time this season, that kind of momentum really does set the tone going into your offseason.
Absolutely. You know, a lot of people could look and say, okay, well, the points are kind of settled in a lot of these classes. Now we see our leader on screen. There is Wyatt Wilkins coming across that famous Ironman bridge. Had to build that a few years ago when things were getting real rowdy with a real rainy race, and I believe it was 2021. Things were so bad, the crew had to come in the week before and say, we need to build some bridges to get these riders across. There is B. Neal in the number 2 spot, the Bidwell Bullet, now starting to pull a little bit of a gap on the 703 of Abney and the 246 of Brandon Owens. When I say a little bit of a gap, that gap has now really opened up. Is still Abney in the number 3 spot. Owens in 4th. Hunter Hart up to the number 5 spot around McGill, and McGill in that number 6 spot here at the 10-mile marker on lap number 1. There is Jay Shadron. There's Stephen Harrell, John Glauda Jr., Josh Merritt, Wyatt Wilkin, Chris Borich. Keep an eye on that battle between Fowler and Merritt. Just a couple spots ahead of them up the track is Hunter Hart. We'll keep running the points as they go, but right now it would be Hunter Hart rounding out the, or getting up near a podium position and potentially putting himself in position to earn that number 2 as they run. Walker Fowler would be number 3 and Josh Merritt would be number 4. But folks, this is far from over. There's still a lot of racing left to go.
Yeah, I was about to say, you could tell by the body language of Hart. He probably knows what position he's in, but still knows he's getting chased down. A lot of racing left to go.
That was Grayson Eller there, another one of our XC1 riders running strong here on lap number 1. We'll keep an eye out if we stay at this camera shot, see if we can get a running order from that XC2 class. We'll have to be looking for some new names because 2 riders we're used to seeing leading the way. We just talked about it, and it looks like it's Elijah Edmondson joining us after winning the St. Clairsville GNCC many months ago and having an absolutely horrific crash the days after. Wow. Won't go into the details of it. We'll let him describe that. But there was a point where his prognosis not very desirable or positive. The fact that he's even out here racing is literally a miracle. He had a horrible crash the day after the race, not even on ATV, actually on a pit bike. Head injuries, all kinds of things going on. Was able to pull through. He's been getting slowly stronger, running some local races, now leading the way in XC2. That is a true story of overcoming adversity for sure. Now we see quite a few more of our XC2 riders coming through. Some riders we expected to see up front look like Jeremiah Wolf sitting back in there about the number 3 or 4 spot. But Elijah Edmondson basically picking up where he left off at the St. Clairsville GNCC and leading the way here in XC2. So shout out to him.
Yeah, that's a feel-good story to have Elijah back out with us. Love to see it.
Wyatt Wilkin back on screen, working his way into another section of the bean fields here at the Ironman GNCC facility. Still with a comfortable lead, taking a look over his shoulder. But man, if there's one guy you don't want to see back there, it's the big number 1 of the Bidwell Bullet, Bryson Neal. Nothing in it for this guy today, just pride, just confidence going into next year. Zach, you touched on that. You know, you can gain so much momentum in the last race, really kind of set the tone for the season coming. Abby still holding on to the number 3 spot. Owens still in 4th. Hunter Hart up to the number 5 spot. Now, Owens goes from being the rider on the attack to the rider on the defensive, with Hunter Hart really pushing the pace and trying to get a line. Looks like actually Owens basically just giving that spot up to Hart, going wide, but then coming back around on the inside. You talk about a little rope-a-dope there, folks. That was a veteran move, and back in to the number 4 spot.
Man, that was textbook maneuver right there from Brandon Owens. Cut back underneath, put the power to the ground, and rocked it back past Hunter Hart as they head back into some single track, and Hart going to have to settle back in, try to find another way around.
I'll be honest with you guys, I did not see that coming.
That
to me, that looked like a, okay, I'll give you this spot move, but actually he was just squaring him up, setting him up. That was a veteran clutch, very, very calm, cool, collected maneuver from the 246 of Brandon Owens. And now just like that, back to the rear wheels of Austin Abney there in that number 3 spot.
Kind of seemed like Hart thought the same thing too as well. He just followed to the inside.
I was waiting for like the hand, like the thank you, and then here comes Brandon Owens blowing back by him on that straightaway. So shout out to that Sturtevant Power Sports rider there. And there is Wyatt Wilkin out front, and also Bryson Neal in the number 2 spot. We'll see how this one's settling out here in the number 3 spot. It was, and still is, Austin Abney in 3rd, and still Owens in the number 4 spot.
Abney, that's a little slideways there.
That allows Owens to get a little bit closer, and you can see Hunter Hart, a serious sense of urgency. Again, he knows what's on the line. He wants that number 2. The championship may be wrapped up. Split line section. How's this one going to come out? Man, Owens having to check up there. Could have really put a move on Austin Abney. Another split line. Hunter Hart going wide, but they're all coming out in the same position yet again, boys.
Yeah, it looked like Hart lost just to take a time through that second split line area, but able to keep it within a few bike lengths.
Here this season, we've saw some real flashes of speed, some real flashes of brilliance from Brandon Owens. I was looking at some of our earlier rounds in the last week, and Brandon Owens, he's been a rider that's bitten consistently right there. Just waiting for the day that's his day.
Yeah, Johnny even said it earlier. I think there's been just consistent growth, too. We've seen flashes that's, you know, half a lap, a quarter of a lap here, so suddenly turns into multiple laps of being in the fight. And like you said, I think it's only a matter of time before we see that turn into overall results as well. I feel like we were saying the same thing about Wyatt Wilkin not too long ago.
Exactly. And speaking on Wyatt Wilkin, I'm not surprised one bit to see Wyatt Wilkin in this top spot here today. I got to listen to the pre-race report just a bit. The microphone was actually going out just a bit during that, so it was hard to catch all of it. But one thing that Wyatt said, I don't care if these guys are battling it out for championship points. I don't care if I mess up their championship run. I came here to win. This is my job. And another weekend where we see him really fired up, just like we did at the John Penn.
Well, and we've seen a lot of Wyatt Wilkin this year, frankly, kind of seemingly disappointed with his finishes and with not the way he's been riding, but how it's been translating in results. What better way to do it than to finally get your first win of 2025? Had a win in 2024, but to get that win this weekend, we're a long ways from it. But I tell you what's impressive to me, Bryson Neal hasn't really been able to make any inroads yet into that lead, which tells me Wyatt Wilkin's riding with confidence, riding with pace, and he's going to make it hard on these guys today.
Seems like a fire has just been set under him here recently of saying, you know what, I know I'm the guy. This is what I get paid to do, and that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, out front, making it look easy. You can see Bryson Neal still not really able to chew into that lead. Wyatt Wilkin has checked in as we wait. Bryson Neal around the final corner through the finish line arch. We'll get the split, and it is 13.2 seconds with lap times of 26:23 for Wyatt Wilkin and 26:39 for Bryson Neal. As we wait for some more riders to check in, you can see, and we saw this 2 weeks ago from Wyatt, just riding with confidence, riding with finesse, really just hitting his marks, looking good. Unfortunately for him, 2 weeks ago, Bryson Neal just having that little bit extra in the tank, able to stretch out a comfortable gap and hold it to the finish line, grabbing the win at the John Penn GNCC. But right now, Wyatt Wilkin making the Indiana fans cheer. You can see a whole lot of people out there cheering them along, kicking up some dust, which again is going to make it a little bit harder on Bryson Neal.
What a roller coaster ride headed up Ironman Hill there. Not Ironman Hill, Godzilla Hill. Yep. Backwards up Godzilla.
A hill at Ironman.
Yeah, a hill at Ironman, nonetheless. But I was getting told by Jared Bolton just how many G-forces you get going up it, and you can see just from the TV coverage, that is a steep hill.
Guys, as we wait for just a few more riders to check in here to round out our top 10, and now we do have it. It's Wyatt Wilkin, Bryson Neal, Austin Abney, Brandon Owens, Hunter Hart, Adam McGill, Stephen Harrell, Josh Merritt, Walker Fowler, and Alex Tiemann rounding out the top 10. We'll wait and see as Bryson Neal comes by in the number 2 spot how our XC2 riders check in. But it's fast and furious out there right now, boys.
Yeah, while you were checking the scores, we actually flashed back and saw Hunter Hart making that pass on Brandon Owens right at the top of Godzilla. So it now should be Abney, Hart, and then Owens.
And it is as they make their way through now. Brandon Owens right on screen.
Owens taking another line, looking like he wants to take another shot back at Hunter Hart, try to get back that number 4 spot. Then it's Harrell, then it's Merritt. Merritt has actually gotten around both Glotta and Jay Shadron. Walker Fowler still sitting back there, not quite able. And I actually do see, we do not have Chris Borch on our transponder list for scoring. He seems every race to have some transponder issues. Chris Borch, if you're watching this, get a new transponder for next year. Man. But running inside the top 10 solidly. And then we see Braxton Gross there. Looks like Alex Tiemann, so he's gotten around Tiemann. So it was Tiemann and Gross. Now those two have flip-flop positions.
So taking a look right now here at the 1 mile mark, a little bit further back.
The 9 machine making
Jared
his
McClure,
way by. The sneaky snake, Jared McClure.
Sorry, guys, was choking there. We're back now. And it looks like here we do have Grayson Eller. So we'll be waiting and watching now for our XC2 leader. Will it still be the 247 of Elijah Edmondson? He has checked in and looks like running, and there he is leading the way still in that XC2 class. Man, he is on rails out there right now, leading the way and up well inside the top 20 overall. We get the official updated overall. Computer's lagging a little bit here. We'll get you guys an update as soon as we can. You can see it on screen there. In the number 11 spot, it is Elijah Edmondson. Then, I believe that was Logan Steele. There is Dalton Keys, another one of our Indiana riders, running strong here today. You can see the locks flowing on Wyatt Wilkin there, folks.
He's got the flow in the breeze and leading the way.
And for anybody that don't know, the left side of your screen where you see the riders listed, the red means they're in the XC1 class, the green is XC2, and then those blue riders are going to be some of our amateur riders, and that's who I'm wanting to mention, sitting 16th overall. Cole Likens' little brother taking the 250 All-Star win just a little while ago and up to a 3rd place on the AM overall podium. And then just behind him, look at that, Bryce Poland sitting in the 19th overall spot.
Another rider to give a shout out to, the 512 of Lane McCormick in that 18th place spot, a former overall youth champion, won an A-class title, battled for an A-class title a few years ago. I actually think he did lose that title to James Glotta, but they battled down to the final race here in 2022. Lane opting to go to lineman school, get kind of life in order, earn some money, get himself set up, but back out here riding a borrowed machine from Brad Whitehead, and he's out there in that number 18 spot overall and sitting, looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th place spot in XC2. So not a whole lot of riding these days for him, but you can't take the speed out of the kid, that's for sure.
Love to see it, man. Great shot here from our live drone as get a little closer and really get to see, we see the speed, Jackson, but man, you see the square edge bump starting to develop as well. I mean, Wilkin just getting tossed all over the place. Throttle never letting up a bit though, but nonetheless just shows these wide open sections not quite as smooth as some might think.
Track crew throwing some logs in there as well, as we got to see the Gator making his way over that section. And some of those sections like that, hard to tell exactly what's going on here. We saw several riders making their way through, now getting a better camera shot and really getting to see just how hard it is to make it over that one.
And that is Braxton Gross. He's gotten around his way around Alex Tiemann. Great opportunity for these two guys. I don't know for certain, but from what I'm hearing, I do know Alex Tiemann, regardless of how he finishes today, will have to, if he chooses to race in 2026, move up to the XC1 class. The rule as it's written, 2 years inside the top 15 overall, you must move to the front row. This would be his 2nd consecutive year inside the top 15 overall. Braxton Gross in 2024 finished 16th place overall, so has the opportunity to decide, does he want to continue to grow his craft? Only his 2nd full season of racing GNCC, a very young rider out of California, trying to cut his teeth here. Don't know if he'll decide to stay back, but he wanted to give it a shot, see how he stacked up today. Both those guys riding well, sitting in Braxton Gross, another rider not showing up. I just noticed in our overall some transponder issues for him as well, but we know he is ahead of Alex Tiemann, so we're going to slot him in around about that 10 spot in the overall and bump everybody else back one. We'll get that corrected once we get the official word from scoring, but it looks like now Hunter Hart has gotten around Austin Abney up into the number 3 spot. It looks to be, and then Brandon Owens and Adam McGill starting to put some pressure on Owens. So Owens was the aggressor about a half a lap ago, now has fallen back into the clutches of McGill. So maybe a little bit of arm pump, maybe riding tight, or maybe Adam McGill just turning it up.
The Gator getting hungry here as it's time to work his way into a podium finish. Be nice to see, good way for the Gator to close out the season.
Yeah, no doubt. Adam, one of our fan favorites. I'm sure Ironman would absolutely explode if he's able to get up onto that overall podium here today. As now we pan back to our leader, Wyatt Wilkin, here at the mile 3 mark, that actual Ironman hill.
Bryce Neal looks to be a little bit closer to me in this shot. He was able to make up some ground in that couple miles of racetrack. He's on the hunt, he's on a charge, but he's still got a couple seconds to go. We've talked about it before. Once you get to the rear wheels of someone, it's a lot easier to pace them. Hunter Hart now putting in a charge. Not only has he gotten around Austin Abney into that number 3 spot, he has put a gap on those guys and trying to close that gap down to the 2 riders ahead of him, sitting in that number 3 spot.
As you can see, Ironman Hill, a fan favorite for obvious reasons. And Jackson, we were actually able to go out there a little earlier this weekend, so a pretty special thing going on this weekend where you've got the opportunity to take home your very own jar of Ironman Hill dirt. And Johnny, of course, the first question, is it really from Ironman Hill? Well, I saw it with my own 2 eyes. Jackson Burrow and a shovel.
Me, you dug it with your own 2 hands from what I heard.
Yes.
I left it to the expert over here, but no,
we did indeed. We'll show you right where it came from.
Yep.
Just when we pan back here, you'll see our photographer standing below. I believe that's Kyle standing out there just at the bottom of the hill. And all jokes aside, that is actually where that dirt came from, is right there in that spot, and it's all going to a good cause. So if you're here in sight, or maybe you got somebody that you know that's here on site, make sure to get some of that Ironman Hill dirt.
Yeah, all donation based, go into the Montgomery County Breast Cancer Research and Awareness Foundation. So great cause and some cool stuff going on here to celebrate a fan favorite location on the GNCC circuit.
Flashing back to our leader now at the Twin Hills, quite a bit further along on our racetrack. It is Wyatt Wilkin, but yes, Bryson Neal has made up some ground. Nothing crazy, but that is not 13 seconds. That's more like 6 or 7. He's chipped about half of that gap away. We'll be watching for the number 6 of Hunter Hart in that number 3 spot. He's gotten around Brandon Owens. He's gotten around Austin Abney, and he is in control of that battle for the number 2 spot at the end of the year, as he would now hold a significant points lead over both Josh Merritt and Walker Fowler, who are about 5 positions behind him in the running order. So there is Hunter Hart in the number 3 spot, hop, skipping, and jumping to the top of the Twin Hills.
Man, just kind of floating a couple inches over top of that hillside.
Austin Abbey still in the number 4 spot. Adam McGill holding strong in 5th, has now gotten around Brandon Owens. And just behind him it is Stephen Harrell and Josh Merritt on a charge. We pointed out he'd gotten around Jock Glauda Jr. He'd gotten around Jay Shadron. Now it looks like Glauda has actually latched on to Josh Merritt. There is Shadron, there is Fowler, and there is Chris Bortz. So Chris Bortz and Walker Fowler, folks, if you were here in 2014, these are 2 riders that battled down to the final turns for a 2014 11 years ago for that championship, and now they're battling out there in about the number 9 and 10 spots overall. But they will expect to see them on a charge, try to work their way through out the pack, but 2 riders that are absolutely no strangers to each other.
No doubt, and I do believe, if I'm correct, the number 10 going to be sitting in that 10th place spot.
Whoa, look at that on the move. Josh Merritt around the outside of Stephen Harrell, making another pass. I think he may be the most motivated rider on the racetrack right now, as just ahead of him, he can see the 246 of Owens. Now Fowler around Shadron. Shadron checking up. Could have given him a little love tap there, but Fowler had been putting pressure on for several miles.
Seems like the first half hour or so, the boys been warming up, and now it is time to go to work. Some passes being made, and things starting to get exciting here for the final round of the 2025 Progressive GNCC racing season. We're getting ready to throw things to a break, get a quick word from our sponsor, and we'll be back with more Yamaha Ironman GNCC racing action right here on Racer TV.
Whatever you drive, however you drive. AMSOIL specially engineers lubricants to maximize power, performance, and protection in your vehicles, so you can work hard and play hard with confidence. Order online at amsoil.com.
Unleash aggression, reliability, and premium quality with Kenda tires, delivering exceptional performance on all types of vehicles: automotive, ATVs, UTVs, motorcycles, bicycles, trailers, lawn and garden, and even golf. Trust Kenda tires to guide you on your next adventure. Kenda, designed for your journey.
Family values and a homegrown work ethic, Cometic Gasket seals your machine so you can focus on the finish line. Cometic Gaskets are the competitive standard for racers who demand the very best inside their engine. Cometic Gaskets are always constructed from superior materials designed to perform in the most demanding environments. Whether it's a championship on the line or a day in the dirt with friends, professionals and enthusiasts alike depend on Cometic. Cometic Gasket, sealing championships since 1989.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized E-Turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. Rocky Mountain ATVMC.com. Get ready.
And welcome back to GNCC Live here at Ironman Raceway. Mikey Wayne's here alongside Jackson Burrell and Johnny Gallagher. I just forgot your name, Johnny. We've only been working together. And I take back everything about that.
The guy makes a nice post this week about how nice it's been to work together for 9 years. Now I can't remember. But it's okay. At some point tomorrow, I will call Grant Davis Grant Baylor or Grant Baylor Grant Davis. The Grants really confuse me. I take things for granted, but so top two through. It is still Wyatt Wilkin leading the way, but Bryson Neal has been chipping away at it. It was 13 seconds at the completion of lap number 1, looking like now he's got it down to 5 or less. Hunter Hart has been on a charge up through the pack, on a mission, trying to make up some spots. The two riders that he is battling for that number 2 spot, both, though, charging behind him as well. Hunter sitting in the number 3 spot, and now here comes Austin Abney in the number 4 spot. Adam McGill in 5th. Austin Abney doing a little backtrack in there. That's a little special effects from our Racer TV crew. And then just behind them, I think we may have it is a Josh Merritt sighting on a charge, and there is Harrell. He's gotten around Harrell. He's gotten around Glada. He's gotten around about 10 other riders, and there's Walker Fowler as well, who's now gotten around Jay Shadron. So we may have a party for that number 2 spot, and that one has been hotly contested both on and off the track here as of late over the last couple weeks. So we are looking forward to seeing some fireworks if we can see those riders get caught up to each other and have a battle. But right now, Hunter Hart doing what he needs to do. He's made the passes. He's gotten to the number 3 spot, and he's holding that points position that he would need to secure the number 2 for the year.
Yeah, it's much coveted, right? We've talked about it pretty extensively. The number 1 plate wrapped up, but that number 2's on the board, and a few guys with a shot at it still. So just 42 minutes into this, and it could get very dicey.
Yeah, a real dogfight going on from 2nd to 4th there, but Bryson Neal, 313 points. That's almost 100 points over our 2nd place, Hunter Hart, with 215. He's tied Hunter Hart and Walker Fowler here today, and then only 3 points back is Josh Merritt. And then Wyatt Wilkin not that far back from there with 193 points versus the 212 that Merritt has. So the real fight going to be for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th here on the overall spots. Hunter Hart, Walker Fowler, and Josh Merritt.
Well, I'd like to go ahead and break in there, Jackson, say the real fight may be over the number 1 spot, because not in the points, but Bryson Neal has now tracked down Wyatt Wilkin to where he is in the same section of racetrack, and we may see a battle developing over the lead here in a matter of just a few miles. But right now, Wyatt Wilkin's still doing everything right, but Bryson Neal just refusing to be denied and continuing to catch fractions of a second in each section of racetrack, getting ever so much closer to Wyatt Wilkin. There we see him on screen as they head into the very colorful Ironman Forest here today. It's Halloween weekend next weekend. We got the fall colors. It's spooky season and pumpkin spice lattes. So we might as well have some nice colored leaves here to set the stage for some hot racing on the racetrack.
No doubt about it. As I look at the pylon on the left side of the screen, there is a glitch there. That Hammer at the top is not going to be your leader. Wilkin is still going to be in that top spot.
Confirm that, but as it looks right now, we do not think that Mr. Hammer, we'll call him Mike Hammer.
I'm going to go Mark, but yeah, Mike works.
Yeah, Mark Hammer.
Call the Hammer.
Well. I knew a guy named Mark Hammer, and I know that's not him, so I was going to go with Mike. But
that's fair.
Might be Mason.
Could be Mason. Yeah.
Matthew Hammer.
Marcus. You can just keep going.
Matthias Hammer leading the way here. Now, okay, on screen, Wyatt Wilkin out front on the number 3 machine, leading the way physically, but look at this. Bryson Neal really starting to close the gap up here, folks. Wyatt Wilkin really looks like he's riding well, but the Bidwell Bullet this season, there we saw a little head nod. Wyatt Wilkin, you better get going. Yeah. We got a head nod. Pretty soon we're going to get a lock in, maybe even a clock in. Oh, look at that watch. And when that happens, it's all over but the crying, folks.
Yeah, that's a scary thought from Bryson Neal back there. Wyatt Wilkin, not necessarily a little checkup from the neck up right there. Wants to know where Bryson Neal's at. Not necessarily playing with house money. Like, he's still, he's charging. He can make some things happen here. But I heard Jackson, you mentioned it in his pre-race interview, was just like, yeah, I don't care what those guys are battling for. I want to go out here and win. So he's showing that, putting it on display right now.
Guys, you mentioned the pre-race interviews. If you were here at the track, Hunter Hart declining a pre-race interview. Little upset with some things that happened.
Yeah.
He made a poor judgment call just 2 weeks ago and ducked under a course marking and was penalized accordingly, appealed it. The AMA upheld it.
Yeah.
It was caught on video. It was very obviously a violation of the rules. Understandably, as a racer, you can be not happy about that. Hunter Hart rode very well 2 weeks ago, but as a big boy, you got to just take your penalties and move on. Right now, he's trying to prove the point that he feels like he earns that number 2, and right now he's in the position to do it. But I did notice there, it looked like Josh Merritt had made even more passes now, and maybe all the way up to he has gotten around McGill, he's gotten around Abney, and he has Hunter Hart in his sights. Folks, you want to see some fireworks, we may very possibly get to see it, because Josh Merritt and Hunter Hart have had some exchanges of words, I believe this morning, actually, and there's a lot of tension between those two. Josh Merritt not taking kindly at all to some things that Hunter said. Rules are rules, he said, you know, and that's the way the cookie crumbles. But right now, again, credit where it's due. Hunter Hart doing what he needs to do. But if Josh Merritt can get up there and take that third place spot away, that would be the actual difference for the number 2. And this is what it's coming down to. Man, if you're lining the sides of this racetrack, get out there. If you're a Hunter Hart fan, cheer him on. Josh Merritt fan, Walker Fowler fan, whoever you're a fan of. And don't forget to give some extra love to the 703 of Austin Abney. He's now fallen out of a podium position, but still running very strong in his last full-time race as a GNCC XC1 competitor.
Yeah, he was, you know, he kind of kept that close to the chest, and he opened up about it in that pre-race interview. And I actually, I popped onto the Racer TV broadcast, and people on YouTube were actually questioning, like, why are they saying this is just the last race of the year? No. Yeah, Johnny, you confirmed it there. He's retiring, walking away after this year. So
he had made some posts, and it was pretty obvious what he was saying, but I actually did confirm with him before the morning race this morning. Almost a little verklempt when he was talking about it. He was pretty emotional. He said, hey, man, this has been my life. He said, but right now, time to go build a house, time to be a big boy. And he's a big boy on the racetrack, but growing up, building a house, you know, kind of becoming a grown man. Grown man moves from Bryson Neal up there to the back of Wyatt Wilkin, continuing to just absolutely push that Phoenix Racing Yamaha to its limits. But Wyatt Wilkin has had an answer so far. But again, folks, if you're here this weekend, we don't play favorites, but we do play sentimental favorites sometimes. We would love to see Austin Abney have a phenomenal ride here in his final appearance as a full-time XC1 racer.
Well, he did. From my view, he got the whole shot.
He did.
From that. Okay, so so he'll get some, if nothing else, some love on the podium. So if you are out here, a local Indiana, we'll have him up there to celebrate that for sure. So
look at this gap back now from Bryson Neal. Wyatt Wilkin and Bryson Neal just setting a pace that no one else able to match. We thought when Hunter Hart got into that number 3 spot, he might be able to chip away at it. They have definitely extended it. Into the number 3 spot is the number 6 rider of Hart, 47.59 out of frame. We'll next be watching, will it be the number 4 of Josh Merritt? He has come all the way from dead last and is up to the number 4 spot. So what a ride from Josh Merritt in about 1 3/4 laps of racing. And looks like he is about 10 seconds behind Hunter Hart as they run right now. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Then it's Austin Abney. Then it's Adam McGill, Stephen Harrell, John Glauda Jr., and Walker Fowler has made some moves now and has got himself to the tail end of that battle and inside the top 10 after a second to last place start. And he has now opened up the gap a little bit over Jay Shadron on the number 18 machine. Shadron running strong early, but starting to look like he's struggling at the pace now as he's got some heavy pressure from behind from the number 10 of Chris Borge, the 6-time champion himself.
Yeah, Jay Shad, another guy, in the pre-race report when he was talking, was very, you know, up on himself. He said, where I'm at, I think a number is 7th OA. 6 is on the table for him if he performs well today. And he's like, this is where I was at before I got injured again. So I feel good.
And the podiums this year, you know, we've talked about, you want to talk about sentimental favorites. We've given a lot of exposure to Jay's injuries, both on and off the track the last several years. To have him up inside the top 10 of the best ATV pilots in the world and finishing on the podium multiple times this year speaks volumes about his determination and resilience. Even if he doesn't have the ride he's looking for today, it's still absolutely phenomenal what he's out there doing. And we expect to see him back doing more of the same in 2026.
Absolutely. Yeah, very cool stuff.
Leaders on screen. Wyatt Wilkin out front. Bryson Neal still continuing to stalk him. He's made up the gap. He's not yet gotten to the rear wheels. I know it's only a few bike lengths, but Wyatt Wilkin just continues to fight back.
Yeah, this is the battle right here. First place, Wilkin and Bryson Neal. Maybe a little small misstep right there by Wilkin, but back on that throttle. Yeah, Bryson Neal within striking distance now. This might be a matter of time. We'll see how well Wyatt Wilkin is able to answer under the pressure.
Just seems like this is a good shot where you see Bryson doing 1% more in every little aspect. 1% charging harder into the corner, 1% quicker on the top speed of the straight. Like, it's just the little things that seem to compile and add up that just chip away at these leads. And so next thing you know, Bryson's clocking in out front.
Guys, as we watch this battle for the lead on screen, running some points scenarios in my head over that number 2 spot. Josh Merritt closing in on Hunter Hart, not yet to him, but if they do get there and get the battle going, we got to keep in mind when you're talking overall, not class championship, but or class positions, but overall positions, the tiebreaker is the most number of wins. So Hunter Hart having 2 wins, Josh Merritt only having 1 this season. So if Josh is able to get around Hunter, which he hasn't caught him yet, it would still be advantage Hunter Hart. He would need Hunter to fall back to that number 4 spot or worse. But lurking back there, the 7-time champion and all-time race wins leader, Walker Fowler. Don't sleep on that guy. We saw him 2 weeks ago really kind of struggle in the early stages of the race and then absolutely pour fuel on the fire and come charging back through the pack, getting up to the rear wheels of Hart, crossing the line physically in the number 4 spot. Then again, the penalty assessed to both Hunter Hart and Adam McGill for leaving the track on video, ducking under some string and banner to go around some riders that were stuck. They were debating that they said it was a bottleneck. Course race officials in the video clearly determined it was not a bottleneck. That said, when it was all said and done, that bumped Hunter back to the number 4 spot, setting up the point scenario we have, which is a tied Walker Fowler and Hunter Hart with Josh Merritt 3 points behind. So exciting stuff going on out there on the racetrack right now.
It's going to be good. We are approaching an hour into this one, just 52 minutes into it, so we've got plenty of racing left. And yeah, these guys, Wyatt Wilkin in the battle there between Bryson Neal. And we're just watching Bryson Neal. Johnny, we've been watching him, you know, the years where Bryson, the speed was there, but maybe not the wisdom that comes with getting wins and now championships. And like, we see that on display now, where we used to see Bryson Neal really pushing and maybe making a mistake. Ooh, the guy is patient.
Pit strategy, wasn't expecting, well, I guess 2 laps complete. We're expecting a 4 to maybe 5 lap race. So Bryson Neal electing to bypass the pits and go on a 3 lap pit strategy. So that's going to put Bryson Neal pretty close on fuel, but at 52 minutes, they only have a few more corners until they'll check in for scoring. Those guys very aware of their fuel mileage on that Phoenix Racing Yamaha. From what I know, unless he's got something crazy going on inside that motor or with the fueling system on that, should be absolutely fine to go for 3 laps. But this sets up a unique situation for Wyatt Wilkin. Now he's given up the lead, but he has 1 whole lap to get to the rear wheels of Bryson Neal. If he's able to do so, he would be able to potentially make the pass on Bryson Neal when Bryson is forced, absolutely no questions asked, to stop for fuel in Pro Row next lap through.
Well, all that patience I just talked about of Bryson Neal, now is the time if you're B. Neal, you want to run away and hide. Put as much time between you and Wyatt Wilkin as possible so that when that scenario does come into play, he comes into pit next lap.
And if you're Wyatt Wilkin, you got to remain calm here. Sense of urgency for sure. You want to get back to Bryson Neal, but it would be so easy to panic, make a small mistake, giving up fractions of a second, multiple seconds, or worst case scenario, you have a crash or tighten up because you're riding so hard. Wyatt Wilkin, they've been so close on pace through the first 2 laps of racing. I think if he can just settle in and ride the way he was riding before Bryson was chasing him down, he has a potential to stay close enough to at least be with Bryson when he comes out of the pits next lap. But man, Bryson Neal, you can't take anything away from this guy. He knows what's on the table. Even though it's not anything really in it for him in the championship, it's just race wins. I mean, that's what these guys come out here for. They want to win. They want to be the best. Bryson Neal, with nothing to prove left in 2025, still trying to kind of cap it off with just the icing on the cake, if you will. 1 more win here in 2025, but Wyatt Wilkin doing everything he can to stop him at the moment.
Man, really cool line there for the number 3, the way he carved up the Godzilla face.
For a moment, I'm like, where the heck is he going? And it brought it right back into the inside. That was good.
Little Jet Lawrence-esque. I believe they were running that section backwards, but Jet was actually landing on that bank here from Motocross of Nations just about 3 weeks ago. And now we see Bryson Neal with that very bright moose gear this weekend. Our man Carl from Moose hooking these guys up with some, it looks like that stuff should have a battery. It's so bright. But really standing out, Wyatt Wilkin coming by there in the number 2 spot, trying to close the gap back to B. Neal.
See how far back Hunter Hart, Josh Merritt. See where that battle is at. Merritt was trying to close in on Hunter Hart. Hunter Hart kind of on the island by himself for the moment. And then back to McGill, Glotta, and Fowler.
So looking to see if those guys have checked in, and they have now with 2 laps complete. So it's a 9-second gap for Bryson Neal, Wyatt Wilkin. Let's stop there for a minute and talk some hype. Just so you guys know, the standard number thrown around for fuel stops at GNCC, 8 to 9 seconds. That's about what it takes. You can do it a little quicker if you're not worried about getting tippy-topped off, which Bryson won't have to, because he'll only have at most 2 more laps of racing, potentially 1. We've not received official word if this will be a 4 or 5 lap race, so that is interesting. If Wyatt Wilkin can keep the gap the way it is, he will potentially be right on the rear wheels of the Bidwell Bullet when they take off to complete, or to start lap number 4. Hunter Hart on screen with, when they checked in at scoring, a 15-second gap over the number 4 of Josh Merritt. And again, we've talked about it enough already, but we'll keep on talking about it. This could potentially be a battle over the number 2 in points for the year between these 2 riders. Then it's Adam McGill, a lapped rider, working his way in there. Then it's John Glotta Jr. and Walker Fowler making some moves. So that would be the other rider embattled in that number 2 overall. He's now gotten around Steve. Well, he got around Stephen Harrell in an earlier camera shot. Harrell riding well. A rider who had a heck of a season last year in XC1, trying to back that up, and then followed very closely by Austin Abney, sitting in the number 9 spot. Boric now showing scored in 10th. So we do have progress. He is joined back in. We still do not have Braxton Gross in the scoring there, but we'll get that. And speaking of, there is Braxton Gross. Now he's gotten around both Jay Shadron and Chris Boric. So welcome to the XC1 ranks. Braxton Gross making some moves, getting around a 6-time champion and multi-time podium finisher this season. The 6-time champion in Boric, the multi-time podium finisher in Jay Shadron. In just a few miles of racetrack, he has gotten around both of those riders and starting to really look like he is learning the pace here, starting in the front row for the first time in his very young racing career.
May weigh in on that, his mind on whether or not he wants to jump up full-time next year. Because Braxton Gross is still, he can still run next year.
He is still eligible. Okay. We talked about this. The rule as it's written states that if you finish in the top 15 overall 2 years in a row on ATVs, you must move up to XC1, which means Alex Tiemann, a rider who we expect to see here behind Jared McClure somewhere, will be moving up to XC1 full-time if he does decide to contest the 2026 GNCC Championship. Bryson Neal with the head nod again. Those head nods are so dangerous. But yes, Braxton Gross would be eligible to still race XC2 if he wants to pursue, try to add that championship to his resume in what would be only his 3rd full season of racing GNCC. Was a visiting rider, stopped in a few times as a youth rider, and then as a College A rider and XC2 rider when he was contesting the Work Series out west. He's moved himself. Actually bought some property in West Virginia. I think mom and dad did. Braxton's only 16. But he has, got some property in West Virginia near the Meadows family farm where he's been staying and training quite a bit during the season. But now full-time East Coast guy, from what I understand. Parents still staying on the left coast. They've got some supervision for him out here. But he is kind of making his way, and this is his dream. Wants to race GNCC, and
I guess I didn't realize. I thought he was at least 18. I did not realize Braxton Gross was 16.
I think he's actually 17 now, but I think he was 16 when the season started. But there is Hunter Hart sitting in that number 3 spot, looking like he's maintaining that gap over Josh Merritt right now. 15 seconds is what it was when they checked in with 2 laps complete. We'll continue to keep an eye on that one. That is 3rd and 4th on the racetrack, flashing back out front to the Bidwell Bullet, leading the way.
Bryson Neal looking flawless. Looks like he's got maybe put a little bit. Oh, no. I forgot. Pit stop by Wilkins. So there's where the time
So
is.
59.18 around that corner. We'll see exactly what. So we'd be looking for 59.27 would be for the gap to stay the same. He's stretched it out, folks. He's put about an additional 4 seconds on Wyatt Wilkins. So what was 9 seconds on screen, looking to be about 13. He would be safe unless they botch the fuel stop, should be able to be in and out in 8 to 9 seconds, so he would maintain the lead. But Wyatt Wilkins still has several more miles to try and chip away. On the flip side of that coin, Bryson Neal still has several more miles to try to even open up that gap further.
Yeah, this is crunch time for Wyatt Wilkins. You gotta kind of hang on. And the tough part is it's racing that clock. It's not really having the physical marker to be able to pace off of.
Well, let me tell you, folks, this may not have anything to do with our battle for the top 2 or the battle for the lead, but Chris Borich has his hooks into Braxton Gross, and that is a dangerous place to be. This man has won over 70, I believe it's 75 GNCCs, and 6 overall championships in his tenure here at GNCC Racing. Little advanced in the age, long in the tooth. Not quite as good as he once was, but as good as he ever was once. And he's right now putting some heavy pressure back on Braxton Gross, who was able to make the pass on him earlier in the lap. Now he's trying to take that toe. He's famous for doing that. Even back in the days, they used to call it the Borich. He would sit back there, he would let a rider around him latch on and just feed off them, and then in the last lap, he would pour all the fuel to it and make the pass. And that's, I would say, of his 75 wins, probably 70 of them came on last lap pass. It might be an exaggeration, but I mean, he was the master of it. He perfected doing it. He was comfortable letting other riders lead and just zapping them with crazy speed and good lines and great racecraft in the final portions of the race. An absolute legend here at GNCC Racing.
We spoke with him prior to the race as well, and it was one of the things I just asked him pointedly. I've known him long enough now, I feel like I can say, are you coming back next year? And he kind of smiled and said, yeah, man, I'm going to do this until it's no longer fun. And he's like, and right now it's still fun. I like mixing it up with these young guys. So, you know, while the wins and the podiums aren't there like they were a few years back, I mean, he's still having fun racing in an ATV.
And he's squeaked out a couple top 5s already. When I say squeaked out, earned a couple top 5s already this year. So definitely still having the pace. And the pace right now from Hunter Hart is enough to continue to hold a gap over Josh Merritt. See the feet up there, not wanting to get those feet wet, sitting in the number 3 spot on that number 6 machine out of Newfield, New York. And looking back, we wait and watch. It's a little less than 15 seconds. Not a whole lot less, though. It looks like Josh has been able to make up a few seconds, but Hunter Hart putting up a fight, not wanting that fight to come to him. He's wanting to continue to maintain that gap over Josh Merritt to hang on to that number 3 spot in the race and the number 2 spot in the points. Bryson Neal hopping up that hill, just pure bulldog strength there from the Bidwell Bullet. Looking here, I'll tell you what, it may have come down just a little bit, roundabout the same, but it looks like Wyatt Wilkins may have been the faster rider through that last section of racetrack. Oh no, problems for Stephen Harrell. Is this at Ironman Hill? Oh, but that wasn't the hill climb. He had some issues coming out into the creek there. Not sure, possibly a tip over, but he definitely lost some time there. And from the looks of what we saw on screen, at least a position, if not a few positions. So not great news for the number 5 of Stephen Harrell, but kill switch plugged back in and back out on course, charging and still ahead of Braxton Gross, Chris Borich, and Jay Shadron as those riders round out your top 11 in the running order. Actually 12, because Braxton Gross isn't showing there.
Head down, rolling up the hill, trying to avoid some of that roost.
Folks, let's give a little love to our XC2. We're looking on screen. We'll see how long we stay here at this camera shot. Elijah Edmondson still leading the way. But look at this. Lane McCormick was sitting back there in that number 4 spot, now up to the number 2 spot. So the kid hasn't been on a quad. He hasn't been riding. He's been climbing electrical poles and making money. And now he is up into a podium position and trying to track down early race leader Elijah Edmondson. Looking at it, 10 seconds was the gap when they checked in. So Lane McCormick, the fastest rider on the track last lap in XC2. He is absolutely shredding out there on that borrowed Whitehead Racing machine. Brad Whitehead saying, hey man, and this is a 40-plus rider who just loves the sport, has been a part of it forever, a phenomenal rider in his own right, has known Lane for many years, and just said, hey, why don't you come out to Ironman and race my quad? It's cool. Lane had, as far as I know, never really even ridden the quad, just kind of putted around on it a little bit, got comfortable with it, and said, okay, let's go to Ironman, and showing that he still has the ability to run inside a podium position here in that XC2 class. Austin Abney on screen, sitting in that number 9 spot.
Yeah, Lane, a former youth champion, and honestly, one of those guys, Johnny, back in the day, you just so good. You kind of had him circle as, man, he's an up-and-coming kid. Life got in the way. Had to make some money. Made that grown man decision. Look at that.
Walker Fowler putting a lot of pressure on John Glada Jr., knowing it looks like they have both now gotten around Adam McGill. They were behind him just a couple camera shots ago, so those two are on the move. Fowler looking to try to jump John Glada Jr. to get up into a battle for that number 2 spot just ahead of him on the racetrack. There is Jay Shadron, but look at this. Chris Board starting to inch away from him with that toe that he is receiving from our first-time XC1 racer, Braxton Gross. So Braxton Gross finding out the hard way. These guys, sometimes it's a little easier to catch them and pass them than it is to get rid of them.
Yeah, he's getting a front row seat here. And a big welcome to the XC1. Looks for today.
Looks to me like Stephen Harrell's handlebars and handguards have been kind of rearranged as a result of that tip over. We saw him plugging his kill switch back in, so possibly even upside down. Maybe Zach, he got a little bit too slideways and caught some grip. They're now back to the FMF PowerPoint is Jared McClure. And here is Braxton Gross and Chris Borich still charging on that number 10 Action Off-Road back machine. The big boss from Action Off-Road here this weekend, Jason Alicia Stewart. So maybe Chris Borich showing, hey guys, I still got the stuff it takes to run top 10. Help me out for one more year. I know they have a great relationship. We were talking about Chris a little while ago. You know, he's actually working with some younger riders and has really kind of moved into a advisory role for a lot of young riders in our schoolboy classes, youth all-stars, A classes, and really just kind of passing along that race winning and championship winning knowledge. And what a great tool to be able to learn from someone like Chris Borich.
Just saw Bryson Neal buzz through there. Wyatt Wilkin almost in that same camera shot. Very methodical section of the racetrack right here. Certainly slows them down. And back to it for Wyatt Wilkin.
As rough as that looks on the overhead, I can't imagine being down there in person, you know.
Difficult. And B. Neal on the other side, man.
Guys, what more can we say about Bryson Neal? Not just in 2025, but honestly, these last 4 championship seasons for him, I mean, it's been the stuff we've seen in the past. We've talked about it a number of times. I don't want to sound like a broken record. On the ATV side, it seems like when someone gets it figured out, Bryson Neal, championship number 4, looking like he's not showing any signs of slowing down in the near future. Prior to him, Walker Fowler, 7 in a row. Look at this, folks. Talk about a battle for the final podium position. It is materialized, and Hunter Hart now has the spot, but Josh Merritt glued to his rear wheels there. Looked like Hunter Hart was kind of taking a little break there, was slowed down, and Josh Merritt was all over his rear wheels. Hunter Hart may not want to slow down too much because just behind those two, here comes John Glada Jr., and that could prove to be the spoiler in that battle for the number 2 as well as the number 2 of Walker Fowler, now getting ever so much closer to both Hart and Josh Merritt in front of him. So the hype is living up to everything that's building, not only this whole season, but specifically these last 2 weeks.
Yeah, we saw when they flashed in that camera shot, Hart grabbing some hydration, kind of took a couple seconds, maybe take a few swigs, and then back to work as now he opens up a few bike lanes on Merritt once again. But like you said, Johnny, can't just get the pass, got to get a rider between them if Merritt wants to take the number 2 spot.
Absolutely. It will come down to a tie as they run a lapped rider. Austin Abney helping him push his quad through this section. Let's see how much. Oh, I was hoping he was going to be able to push that thing out of the way. But look at this now. Stephen Harrell having an opportunity possibly to make the pass back on Austin Abney. And now they're both stuck, and they've got this whole section. The rider's just giving up. He's over here saying, hey, man, what do you guys want me to do? Harrell able to make the pass. Austin Abney still stuck behind that rider, and this is a disastrous situation for the King of Indiana. Austin Abney, now it looks like Braxton Gross, Chris Borich. These guys have both come in and joined the fray.
This is why I'm
This is the worst section of racetrack for this to happen. There's just nowhere for these guys to go. Now look at them. They're backing up. There we see Jay Shadron. Man. These guys all kind of catching their breath. And now they have finally got off and underway. A bad situation for Austin Abney, allowing the riders behind him to catch up. And now he's going to be under heavy pressure from all of those riders behind him.
That was frustrating to watch for our poor rider right there, as well as the rest of our pros trying to work their way through.
Some of our GNCC mud fleas stepping in and helping out here. That rider obviously exhausted trying to push that machine. Got a lapped rider out front throwing his hand up and signaling where he wants Bryson Neal to go, like 2 trailer park girls around the outside.
I like that. It's a good reference.
Throw a little M&M in there.
Good, John.
I I'm trying to, get on your guys' level with like the cool things to say.
Well, Eminem was, he was relevant 20 years ago. You're right.
Wait, I have a question. Can we ask this? So, do the kids still say mid? Is that a thing or not?
I think so.
Okay.
I got 6'7".
I want to be cool, man. No. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. Absolutely not.
I still don't know what the heck that means.
I don't either. It depends. This is how old I am. I've Googled it. I've Urban Dictionary'd it, and I don't even know how to use that stuff. I'm anti-AI. I won't get the new iPhone because it's all AI. I'm 47, going on 102. I'm done learning new things. I just want to be left alone. I want a nice little trailer park spot down by the river, and just leave me alone. I'll come around. Now it's GNCC. Stay off my lawn, kids. Stay off my lawn. I'm going to get those dad shoes. What is it, the K-Swiss from Walmart?
Yeah.
Maybe get myself some white tube socks.
There you go.
I'm at that point in my life, and I'm good with it.
The orthopedic socks, those are the ones.
Zach's sitting here looking at us going, geez, these guys are old.
Nah. You guys are legends. Johnny's been more active than either one of us have ever been on a GNCC weekend.
I got to give Johnny a shout-out this morning. We had... unfortunately, an injured rider on turn 1, and Johnny's like sprinting to help take posts out of the ground so we can do the alternate start.
Listen, man, there's never too many hats to wear in GNCC.
You're not wrong.
I love this sport. If the track needs to be rerouted, I fortunately have enough experience that I've had to do it out there in the woods many times when I was out there helping during motorcycle races or morning ATV races. It's one of those things I've kind of been deemed a course official by proxy, and you do what you can to help out. So many fans jumping in when these riders get stuck. We just saw that. We call them mud fleas. Got to keep the flow of the race going, and right now the flow of Bryson Neal proving to be just a little bit too much for Wyatt Wilkin. I think that gap has grown again. Looked like Wyatt might have it under control, but Bryson has done enough in the last couple miles that I think at the point they stand right now, he's going to be able to get in, get some fuel in that Phoenix Racing Yamaha, and still maintain the lead in this race. Wyatt Wilkin still trying to do everything he can, though, to try to get closer and make that not be the case.
Yeah, Wilkin got to put in a charge right now and try to keep Neal as close as he can. See, I mean, that could really change things entirely. Keeping clean air in front of Bryson Neal is, you just can't do it. He's so deadly out front. But we've seen what Wilkin can do when he gets some momentum, if he gets back in that position and the fight's right there at him. He hung on before longer than anybody's expected and taking it all the way down to a win.
Well, Zach, as we wait and we watch for the battle over that final podium position and potentially the #2 in season championship points between Hunter Hart and Josh Merritt, we're talking about Bryson Neal coming in, having to fuel this lap. He's got now what was about a 13-second gap on camera. We had counted it out earlier. It was 9 seconds at scoring. If Wyatt Wilkin is able to get close enough to get to the rear wheels and kind of get into that virtual draft, if you will, it may help him try to catch some of those lines, catch that pace, and catch the flow. But right now, what we're catching is a new third-place rider. Josh Merritt on the #4 has gotten around the 6 of Hunter Hart. And look back there lurking. It's the 712 of John Glada Jr. sitting in that #5 spot. But Hunter Hart looking like he's ready to race and fire back, trying to get back to Josh Merritt. But look at this. Here comes John Glada Jr. Could he be the rider that plays spoiler in this battle for #2 in our season-ending standings?
Man, wasn't long ago we watched that rider, Walker Fowler, doing battle with Glada Jr., and it looks like Glada responded to it and now is trying to chase down the battle between Merritt and Hart.
Yeah, another one of our riders that we've saw some real flashes of brilliance with is John Glada Jr. Not quite the season I'm sure that he was hoping for, but nonetheless, some great rides for him this season, and possibly another one right here.
Getting some questions. We'll see if we can get word from Race Control, OPAG, our producer Adam Gordon, if you can find out if this will be a 4 or a 5 lap race. That is the word around the pits right now. The phones are blowing up. The chatter on the radios is 4 or 5. 4 or 5. What are we doing here?
Forget 6 or 7. 4 or 5. That's what everybody's saying.
We're going to start some new lingo here. The cool kids in the racer.
We are the cool kids.
Look at this. This is going to prove costly for Bryson Neal. Valuable seconds as this lapped rider, really holding Bryson Neal up. Okay, we're being told that Ricky Towery has the white flag in hand while he has not waved it yet, looking like the race officials leaning towards what maybe will be only a 4-lap race here today, but we will wait for official word from our course officials or until we actually see it come out.
So there we go. Wyatt Wilkin on screen once again. And as we saw Bryson Neal getting held up there, he does not need that to happen many more times before he gets over to the pit and gets through that.
Yeah, those are the little things that could shape the difference, Jackson. And it's going to come down to within a second or two, it seems like. Wilkin able to respond, keep it somewhat close. And the difference between coming out just in front of Bryson Neal and behind him could potentially, oh, look at this.
That's costly for Wyatt Wilkin. We saw Bryson Neal lose a couple seconds. Now it is Wyatt Wilkin who's on the losing end of a battle with a lapper there, just a couple bike lengths cost. There is Wyatt Wilkin, our number 2. We got some hand signal. I think that was a 6.7 going to the camera there. Here we are at the 10-mile mark. Bryson Neal leading the way, Wyatt Wilkin in second. Josh Merritt has gotten around. Hunter Hart in the number 4 spot, Merritt in third, and John Glaude Jr. has jumped up to the number 5 spot, putting in a solid ride. A rider a few years ago, it seemed only a matter of time until we'd see him on the center of our overall podium. He has several podiums throughout his XC1 career, a former XC2 class champion, a horrific broken wrist 2 years ago really set him back. He's been on the mend since then. If you ever saw the pictures online, it was ugly. Yep. But he's been able to get stronger. He's been working hard these last couple months, putting himself up into the number 5 spot as he has now gotten around Adam McGill, as has also Walker Fowler. Here's the battle over the final podium position. Josh Merritt has it, Hunter Hart wants it, and John Glaude Jr. continuing to get even closer now. So it looks like Glaude is the fastest rider of that group, and there is Walker Fowler. So this may now be a 4 rider battle over that final podium position.
Yeah, it looked like the tide was kind of changing back there into the favor of Glaude and Fowler as they were reeling in Merritt and Hart. And we talked about that, Hart and Merritt, maybe exchanging some words, not feeling the best about each other at the moment, and that could slow the two of them down. It's so easy to get caught up in those kinds of emotions in a situation like this. Forget the bigger picture, forget who else could be tracking you down.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, sometimes it's important just to stay focused on the task at hand. Hunter Hart was very animated and motivated to want to prove a point today. We pointed out electing to opt out of his pre-race interview. There was some words exchanged between the crew, or not the crews, but the crew with Josh Merritt before the race. So everything was kept respectful enough, and things were said that can't be unsaid, but now they're going to settle it on the racetrack like men, and that's how it should be done.
Yeah, when we talk about it being passion, that's what it is. This is everything to these guys.
Bryson Neal taking a look over his shoulder, does not see the number 3 of Wyatt Wilkin, but knowing that he is facing a fuel stop here coming up very, very soon. We see these riders coming through this section of racetrack out along what is one of the big bean fields out front here, and as they get ever so close, there is Wilkin in the number 2 spot. There's actually a two-way section where they go out. We saw them that was where Bryson Neal got hung behind that lapped rider next to the fence. They'll come back. Oh, Wyatt Wilkin having to get off his machine, and folks, this will be the difference. He will not be close enough to Bryson Neal to even see him come out of the pits unless Bryson has a very extended pit stop. A costly mistake for Wyatt Wilkin here, just past the 10-mile marker on lap number 3.
Yeah, coming together with a tree there, having to get off that machine, get it off of the front of that tree, and back off and rolling is Wilkin, as now we flash back up to Bryson Neal on screen.
Guys, as I'm looking at our lap time on screen here and looking at the lap times, doing some math in my head, I do believe it will be a white flag waving, as we will have more than surpassed the amount of time necessary, provided they stay on the same pace. They're not going to pick up enough time to make this in question. It's looking more and more, my math, not official, I don't get to make these calls, but I do believe we will see a white flag waving in the hands of Ricky Towery when Bryson Neal checks in here in just about another mile of racing.
There you see Neal pushing his way through, just about a mile or so away from potentially kicking off the final lap of racing here for the 2025 Pro ATV season. Already wrapped up that championship, and would love to just put a little cherry on top with a win here at Ironman.
Looking like he's done enough right now. Wyatt Wilkin not going to make it easy for him, but right now Bryson Neal just continuing to inch it out little by little, and with Wyatt Wilkin tapping that tree, it gives advantage this man on screen, Bryson Neal.
Just
making it look
around.
easy.
Yeah.
Like a machine.
So panning back, where's Wyatt Wilkin?
11 miles into this one now, less than a mile until we will see likely a white flag in the hands of Ricky Towery. Bryson Neal into the pits. That's how quickly things happen, and in and out just like that. Wyatt Wilkin not even to the 11-mile marker yet, and now he is. So that's it, folks. That shows not enough from Wyatt Wilkin this lap to be able to stay close enough to Bryson Neal to benefit from that pit stop. He will be coming through this camera shot here in just a little bit, but we're actually going to see a bigger gap this lap, even with a fuel stop from Bryson Neal. So, man, he is really on the move right now, and we also did see Wyatt Wilkin having that little issue on camera just a few moments ago.
And there we see the white flag waiting in the hands of Ricky Towery, the true north of GNCC. Got his very own bobblehead for sale this weekend. All the proceeds going to our safety on-site and medical efforts here at GNCC. But one of the more celebrated people. We've interviewed a couple of Ricky Towerys this weekend for the Halloween costume contest coming up later. Wouldn't be surprised to have a couple of Bryson Neals walking around the pits too.
This one would have been close, but they definitely made the right call looking at it. We're 1 hour, 20 minutes, 45 seconds, and with lap times hovering just under the 27-minute mark. Looks like about 1:48-ish will be the complete elapsed time, only needing to go 1:45. So that was the difference. Just a few minutes determining this to be a 4-lap race versus 5. We did see a 5-lap race for our morning AM race. A shorter track. They added a few miles of racetrack for this afternoon. And here comes Wyatt Wilkin now checked in. Tail of the tape coming in with 3 laps complete. Bryson Neal with a lap time of updating. We'll get back to you here in a moment when our computer catches up.
Oh, Bryson Neal, a little hand signal there off to the side. We'll see. Not carving that Godzilla face quite as hard as we saw Wyatt Wilkin earlier.
So 27:15 for Bryson Neal checked in. And, oh, there we go, on screen. I don't need to say it. You guys can just read it. So 9 seconds faster for Bryson Neal with a fuel stop. So somewhere in the neighborhood of 18 to 20 seconds faster that lap for Bryson Neal than his nearest competitor, Wyatt Wilkin, in the number 2 spot. And the white flag has waved, meaning less now than 1 lap left for Bryson Neal to claim yet another win in 2025.
Man,
I think it's safe to say here at this point, the battle going to be between Hart and Merritt, along with Glotta and McGill and the rest of the crew, Fowler as well right there. See who is going to take home this 3rd place spot. Can Josh Merritt get it done? And the even bigger question is, can John Glotta get in between those two and shake this championship up?
Well, they have checked in now. Nope, actually still waiting on them to check in. Sorry, got a little false reading there on the computer. Still waiting on those riders to check in. And looks like it is Merritt checking in. Do we see Hunter Hart back there? Hold on a second, folks. That is John Glotta Jr. Did Hunter Hart already check in? This could be a huge shakeup. That's Hunter Hart. That's actually Walker Fowler, who's now also gotten around Hunter Hart. So a disastrous couple of miles for Hunter Hart.
Wow.
Not only losing 2 positions, but dropping from 2nd in the points all the way back to the 4th place position as they run on the racetrack.
Man, so things not going the way for Hunter Hart right now as the white flag waves. He has got to try to regroup. And
you see, that was Rob Smith there from BNR Motorsports on the handlebars. I caught that earlier. Those things look pretty mangled. He's a big old boy there, strong, one of our 4x4 pro riders, standing on the Nerf bar trying to bend the handlebars and steering stem back of his rider, Stephen Harrell. So Harrell definitely get it. We didn't get it on camera, but he was very clearly upside down at the bottom of Ironman Hill, not from tumbling down the hill, but from coming in, jumping off that bank there, somehow getting crossed up, getting a little too slideways, and next thing you know, you're upside down instead of right side up.
And we're bringing out everybody here at Ironman. I mean, celebrities coming from all over to watch. Look at that. That's Dolly Parton in the house with us this weekend, watching GNCC. Man, everybody just wants to see how this one's gonna end up, Jackson.
Including myself, as we see Josh Merritt back on screen.
That is Merritt now in the number 3 spot and holding solidly on to. But shake it up again, folks. Now with John Glotta into 3rd and Walker Fowler just behind him. If Walker Fowler is able to catch, or Hunter Hart, who's right there behind Fowler, if either of those riders can catch and get around John Glotta, it would flip the points back to be advantage either Fowler or Hart. But right now, Josh Merritt has done enough. But his best friend on the racetrack is and needs to be John Glotta Jr. He needs John Glotta to hold off
those other two riders.
And hypothetically, if Glauda got around Merritt, that would also give the advantage back to Fowler as well.
Absolutely.
So there we go. We saw Neal passing by. Now this is Wilkin on screen aboard the number 3 machine. And we'll get to see just how big that gap is back from Wilkin to Josh Merritt. Going to flash back forward here to the mile 2.
There you see the Bidwell Bullet, Bryson Neal, picking his way around, going around the tree, not over this time.
This late in the race, why risk it knowing you got all that time behind you?
And you can see the fans starting to make their way back up towards the podium as well. There was Wilkin.
Now back to the field with the big number 1 machine. And putting the power down. He's locked in.
Yeah, these wide open field sections. Bryson starting to look like his Phoenix teammate Joel Hedrick out there, really aggressive on the machine. And taking his time around some lap riders as well. Quick glance over.
See what the gap is. As they checked in, it was 18 seconds. Looking to be about still the same.
Yeah, almost to the second to my calculations, about 15 or so, maybe even a second or 2 more.
Guys, we're being told, don't know if Racer TV got it, but there's actually contact between Merritt and Hart coming through the pits that lap. There was they were battling for a position. Hunter Hart ending up in the banners, and there we see, I believe that is Lane McCormick, the rider who was sitting in the number 2 spot of our XC2 class. We'll see if we can get an update when they check in here in just about a mile. Has he been able to run down Elijah Edmondson? He was about 10 seconds behind him. But we mentioned before, things very heated between Hart and Merritt. And Walker Fowler, possibly the benefactor there, getting around Hunter Hart, although Hunter Hart all over the back of him and putting pressure on. And John Glauda, the big spoiler between those 3 riders sitting in the number 4 spot. He is the difference right now for Josh Merritt. But if either Hunter Hart or Walker Fowler is able, they do not even have to pass Josh Merritt, just have to pass John Glauda Jr. to wrestle that number 2 in points back away from Merritt. So things are really heating up here out on the racetrack.
Man, this is getting exciting as the final lap is underway. We check in with our fans at the bottom of Ironman Hill. Man, they have gotten quite the show, and still got one more trip around the property before they get ready to come join us for a podium celebration. And of course, alternate schedule this weekend with the turnout we've got at Ironman, so we'll have more youth bike racing coming up after this as well. Our costume contest, Mikey, you brought yours, right? You remembered?
You know what? I could run home and grab. I got the Kevin Windham Forrest Gump fit.
Oh,
I probably should have brought that. I may need to run home after the start and go get that.
There we go. Bryson Neal making his way through. He wants to be nice and cleaned up for the contest.
Look at that fist pump for the fans, baby.
I love it.
I like a celebratory Bryson Neal.
Evan the Deer spotting maybe at the top of the hill as well.
Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, I've seen some cool stuff on Ironman Hill over the years, but the Send It Nun from 2021 is still my favorite. Just said, send it. Dressed as a nun, big, that might be.
That was the Send It Nun.
He doesn't have the Send It sign, but he does have the nun costume. So your top 2 now through and up Ironman Hill. Folks, as we talk here for a minute about Ironman Hill, this used to be such a massive obstacle for these riders, really showing how far the machines and the riders' skill have come. We do kind of approach it differently than we used to. We used to turn out of the creek or turn at the base, so you really didn't get much of a run for it. But this showing you just how challenging it is. This rider's saying, I think I may opt for the bypass. There is a line to the left that goes around the steeper part of Ironman Hill. But we'll wait and watch here at the 3-mile marker, expecting to see the number 4 of Josh Merritt in that number 3 spot. John Glauda, has he been able to hold on to the number 5 spot with Hunter Hart and Walker Fowler trading positions several times, we're told, out on the racetrack. That is the battle right now. Both of those guys wanting to get themselves into position to try to track down Josh Merritt. But all they really need to do for that number 2 spot, whichever of them, if they are able to get around John Glauda Jr., would be the difference maker in the points.
Well, we said at the beginning of the show in the intros, there was still a lot left to race for. Bryson Neal's got the championship decided. Click off another win and inch a little closer toward Barry Hawk on the all-time wins list. That within the realm of possibilities next season, but boy, he'd have to have a near-perfect season. But
Bryson Neal and Wyatt Wilkin have opened up just a massive gap on the rest of the field right now. Another one of our lapped riders coming through. About a 20-second gap it was for Bryson Neal. Maybe a little less. Looks like Wyatt Wilkin has been able to make up a little bit of time, and he is getting loose coming up the Twin Hills there at the FMF Power Point. Look at this. Hunter Hart has now gotten back around Walker Fowler, but Fowler out that other side of Ironman Hill. Who's going to get to the top first? We may not know until we see them in our next camera shot. Hunter Hart going up the left line. Here is Bryson Neal flash ahead to the 8-mile marker now. He is just checked out to Laterville, but he's dragging Wyatt Wilkin with him. These two have a substantial gap of over 1 minute and 30 seconds on the third place ride of Josh Merritt. They have been charging out front from the get-go. Wilkin looking like he is not ready to give up on this one yet. He wants to try to track down our 4-time and defending champion and try to make this a race for the win here on this final lap of racing, but he's starting to run out of mile markers. 8 miles in of about a 12-mile track, and this one is really starting to get intense. Ironman Hill, it's slick when you get to the top. Look at this. Back down. He's got it handled. Adam McGill, actually, we saw his helmet go by the right side of the screen there. He was opting for that right line, and this rider now discretion. There you go. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and take the ride around the outside here. Not much longer, about 10 seconds longer to go around and up the valley next to Ironman Hill.
there you go. You got the momentum. You got this. Maybe. It was the pat on the back that got him there. That was good.
There we see Merritt now at the 4-mile marker. Looked like there might have been a rider in
I think so.
front of him
looked
there,
like a red plate.
Has John Glaude Jr. made the pass on Josh Merritt? That would be a big shakeup and would mean as they run, Hunter Hart would be back into the number 2 spot for the overall season. But we'll wait and see here at the 8-mile marker. We'll get a head-on shot. And yes, John Glaude Jr. has gotten around Josh Merritt. This is another big shakeup. Just when we think we've got this one maybe figured out, John Glaude Jr. putting in an absolute charge and getting around Merritt. They should be coming through here any moment, and here they are on screen. Glaude putting all the power to the ground. Merritt knowing he now needs to get back around John Glaude Jr. with just a few miles remaining, holding his own destiny, but John Glaude Jr. holding on to a podium position.
Yeah.
He's not going to make this one easy by any stretch of the imagination. And now Fowler back around Hunter Hart, and we do not see Hunter Hart.
Yeah, so where is the number 6 of Hart?
There he is.
As he pops on screen with, man, pretty decent gap up to Walker Fowler, and Fowler going to be tough to pass here late. Yeah, so mile 4. What was I going to say? Oh, John Glaude Jr. You know, he's got a couple of podiums under his belt this season, but also another one of those guys. We talked about Wilkin being kind of the spoiler today, which is true. But, man, John Glaude would love nothing more than to close his season out with a podium. You know, a guy that I think he would even say himself feels like he should be more of a regular podium guy out there.
Absolutely. You know, he's shown the speed over the years. We talked about the horrific wrist injury a few years ago. He's been working his way back from that, but he's absolutely riding incredible here today and up into a podium position. And look at this. Wyatt Wilkin was a lot closer than 18 seconds there. But again, those lapped riders really coming into play. We saw that very unique line from Bryson Neal staying up high on the inside of that off camber, missing all those ruts. And we'll see what the gap is here to your overall leader, Bryson Neal. Looking at on screen, that is Wyatt Wilkin. Yeah. He is much closer than he was a lap ago, but still needing to make up upwards of probably 10 seconds to even get to Bryson Neal. And even if he's able to get there, he's still got to try to make the pass.
That's right. Matt Lapper new. Got some XC1 Pro guys rolling through, moves to the side.
Mike, is just weird to just get 15 degrees colder.
It did.
I don't know what happened.
Jackets, but now I'm like, okay, I don't know where the sun hid behind more clouds or something. It definitely got chillier.
Hour and 34 minutes into this one, and nothing is decided. Just when we think maybe Bryson Neal has done enough, Wyatt Wilkin puts in a charge and closes the gap down to about 10 seconds. Bryson Neal with the big swap going into the woods there, but hanging on to it. And that is a lapped rider there. And here comes the big number 3, Dale Earnhardt replica of Wyatt Wilkin, trying to make some noise, let that lap rider know he's coming, and he wants to get through because he wants to try to run down the Bidwell Bullet and wrestle away what would be his first win of 2025.
Yeah, it was last lap around when they were coming up Godzilla the opposite direction. You know, it was off the Racer TV shot, but I was out there watching, and it was just rev limiter behind a lapper, and then immediately again, rev limiter behind the lapper. So that's just kind of been the story for Wyatt Wilkin today. Not taking anything away from Bryson Neal, putting the gap on him. But yeah, it's Wilkin has had his hands full with lap traffic.
Look at this. We've got these riders battling it out. Merritt trying to get around John Glada Jr., but John Glada Jr. holding on to that final podium position in the number 3 spot with heavy pressure from the number 4 of Merritt. Then here comes a couple of lapped riders and the big number 2 of Walker Fowler, really kind of trying to look at that big move there from Fowler, putting both those lapped riders, or at least one of them, between himself and the number 6 of Hunter Hart. Still not seeing Hart, and here he's now coming down under the bridge. So this will be an interesting final few miles of racing here, with about 7 miles of racing left here, sitting at the 5-mile marker for these riders. Our race leader and second place, Bryson Neal and Wyatt Wilkin, a few miles further ahead on the racetrack, with approaching now almost a 2-minute gap over the riders behind them.
Blistering pace. Bryson Neal just out there for bragging rights and wins, and maybe a little extra money on the side here for
what's that saying? Win to eat.
That's it.
He's got a baby.
That's exactly
Win
right.
for diapers.
That's it. He'll be able to get a few after today if he can hang on for this one, put a little icing on the cake for the 2025 season as well.
Guys, update here on that XC2 class with 3 laps complete. It is still Elijah Edmondson leading the way, with Lane McCormick sitting 5.5 seconds behind him in the number 2 spot. Got to be just running on pure adrenaline right now. He does not race anymore, does not train anymore. Out there vying for a win here today in that XC2 class. We'll keep an eye on that one if we can. But right now, Elijah Edmondson, a unique story for each of those two. We talked about it. Elijah Edmondson coming back from a very serious, not only potentially career-ending, but life-altering injury, able to work his way back, tons of physical therapy, lots of great care from the medical professionals, putting himself in position in less than a year's time, about 6 months' time, to be back out here battling and leading the way here in that XC2 class and running in. Oh, actually, Logan Steele, I missed him in the results, has actually taken over the lead in that XC2 class with a gap of 2.6 seconds over Elijah Edmondson. So that would be a huge win for Logan Steele. We talked about it coming into the day today. A lot of guys knowing, with Alex Tiemann and Braxton Gross out of that XC2 class, the riders who have taken virtually all of the wins here in 2025, a new rider looking to put themselves on top of the podium. And right now it's the 716 of Logan Steele in the 15th place spot overall and holding the lead in that XC2 class.
See if Logan Steele's able to make it happen for himself as he tries to hold off Edmondson and McCormick. Dalton Keys back there, 20th OA, 4th in the XC2 class. And hats off to Cole Likens. Be a top amateur right now, sitting in the 19th spot in the OA.
Yep, and Dalton Keys, another rider out of Indiana from that XC2 class, rounding out the top 20 overall. Bryson Neal continuing to click off mile markers, getting ever so closer to a checkered flag in the hands of Ricky Towery. We do not see Wyatt Wilkin back there yet. Wyatt Wilkin was putting in a charge for several miles. We see another 2 more head nods there from Bryson Neal, so he's just kind of reaffirming to himself that he needs to keep pushing the pace because he knows back there somewhere, and there is somewhere, is the number 3 of Wyatt Wilkin. Not close enough to make a bid for the lead, but continuing to push. Should Bryson Neal have just the slightest little mishap, Wyatt Wilkin is close enough to make this one work here as we now get to the 8-mile marker at Bryson Neal on screen.
Is Bryson looking down at the ATV, or is that just...
no, I think those are head nods.
Body language.
He's hyping himself up.
Okay.
Look over. We rarely see... Those are double double lock in there for Bryce Neal. Both elbows tucked. I really think he's hyping himself up. He knows Wyatt Wilkin is charging back there, and he wants to put the bookend on this season with another win here in 2025. But Wyatt Wilkin desperately wanting to get his first of 2025 and second of his career here today, but he's going to need to make some magic happen in the final 4 miles of racetrack, Mikey.
Yeah, you just mentioned it a moment ago. Wilkin's still continuing to push, but I think at this point, almost need Neal to make a little mistake somewhere for Wilkin to have an opportunity to be up, maybe even on the rear grab bar at this point, but staying in the fight. And he needs to, because it's chaos behind him. Merritt, Glotta, Fowler, Hart, those guys all just swapping positions.
Yeah, absolutely. Merritt, Glotta, Fowler, and Hart are just swapping positions every few miles, it seems like, and it's shaking up the points. Right now, as they run, John Glotta Jr. would play the spoiler, pushing Josh Merritt back to the number 4 spot. So it would be John Glotta Jr. with the podium, and it would actually be, as they run, Walker Fowler earning the number 2 spot. It would be Hunter Hart in the number 3 spot, and then Josh Merritt would be in the number 4 spot as they run in points. But we won't know until they cross the finish line, because they just keep shaking it up. About another maybe 45 seconds to a minute until we'll see him here at the 8-mile marker and find out, was Josh Merritt able to make the pass back on John Glotta Jr. and would put himself back in the position to jump all the way from 4th in points up to 2nd.
A lot at stake for these guys. And boy, no love lost there between Hunter Hart and Josh Merritt, that's for sure. Leaving it all out on the track here to close out the 2025 season, though. That's what's beautiful.
And Walker Fowler quietly capitalizing on both of them. Look at this. Merritt back into the number 3 spot, back around Glotta. Just when we thought John Glotta was going to play spoiler, now he may be playing Josh Merritt's best friend, because if he can stay there on the rear wheels of Merritt, and Merritt's able to hold him off, that would be the difference. It would catapult Merritt back into the number 2 spot in points, ahead of this rider right here, the number 2 of Walker Fowler.
Walker Fowler continuing to charge. Cannot give up a position to Hunter Hart. And where is Hart? Hart kind of being the victim of, and there he is, pops on screen. A lot of lappers in between them, Johnny.
Yeah, this is disastrous for Hart. I mean, barring some major unforeseen circumstances in the final miles of racing, I think he may be waving goodbye to any shot he had at that number 2, riding valiantly at the beginning of this race, but just not able to get it done. Josh Merritt and Walker Fowler both getting the best of him right now, but John Glotta Jr. is the big difference maker for Josh Merritt. But if Walker Fowler can make up some room, get close enough, and put a move on Glotta, he could still control his own destiny. But also, Glotta looking like he's not content to just sit back there in the number 4 spot. He wants a piece of that podium pie. He wants to be on the podium with Jackson Burrell and Zach Aaron. And what's that? Popping bottles. That's bottles. The spray of champagne is the sweet, sweet spoils of GNCC victory and podium. And John Glotta wanting a piece of that for himself. There is Bryson Neal through, now at the 10-mile marker, just 2 miles remaining, potentially putting himself in position to win. I'm going to start counting. Give me about 4 or 5 minutes here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This would be victory number 8 on the season for Bryson Neal if he's able to get it done. Wyatt Wilkin trying to stop him, but not close enough to do it right now.
That is impressive stuff. And be remiss not to mention Bryson Neal in the all-time wins column sits 5th all-time. A man by the name of Bob Sloan behind him in that number 6 spot. Of course, Ironman Bob Sloan, what the Ironman GNCC named after. Nice little, had to get that tribute in there. Why not, you know?
Absolutely. We've talked about it so many times, the namesake of this facility that has hosted not only GNCC races, but professional motocross nationals, and now the Motocross of Nations in 2025, just 3 weeks ago here in Crawfordsville. Bob Sloan smiling down from above and saying, hey, that place has my name, and it's held one of the biggest races in the world. Coming to here the very first year in 1995, this was the first town, I've talked about it many times, that really seemed to just embrace GNCC, signs up on the street. Year 1, they didn't know what GNCC was, but they knew Bob Sloan. They knew from nearby Martinsville, Indiana, but Crawfordsville was the nearest place they could find a racetrack, and they decided to bring this here, and it has become unequivocally and unquestionably the biggest off-road race in the United States and likely in the world, at times pushing or over 3,000 unique entries. I don't know what our tally is this weekend, but if you watch the morning race at 10 a.m., I'm pretty sure there was 3,000 just in that race.
We had, I think, 52 in Sportsman B alone. Josh Merritt.
He's opened up the gap, but this begs the question, where is John Glada Jr.? Does this open the door for Walker Fowler?
Ooh, is it going to be 7-1-2 or the number 2?
It is Walker Fowler now up into the number 4 spot, and that would push him up to second place in the points. He's gotten around Glada. So Merritt did enough, but somewhere out on the racetrack, John Glada experiencing an issue, having something, losing some serious amount of time, and now Fowler is into the number 4 spot, which would be enough to earn the number 2 for the year.
Absolutely crazy, crazy day of racing here. We told you in the opening we would have plenty of storylines before this one was said and done. That certainly has not disappointed.
There is Hart. Don't know if we missed Glada or if we have lost Glada from our lead 5 here. So Hart maybe up to the number 5 spot. Don't know if we saw John Glada Jr. come through there at the 10-mile marker. So it could be Glada in 5th, Hart in 6th, or it could be the other, or 4th and 5th. But it could be the other way around. We just don't know.
Wyatt Wilkin on screen. Still sitting in that number 2 spot and trying to track down Bryson Neal, the Bidwell Bullet, out in front. What a charge by Wyatt Wilkin here today. Just a great race.
So similar to what we saw 2 weeks ago at the John Penton GNCC. Just having so much pace, so much speed, so much racecraft, but just being outgunned by our 4-time and defending champion, Bryson Neal. Happening here again today, but this is still a big confidence booster for Wyatt Wilkin. Not having the season he wanted, as he runs and as they will finish, will end up number 5 for the year if he finishes where he's at. And that would be obviously 2 positions worse than he finished in 2024, but he's really come on strong, especially these last 2 races, with a 2nd place finish 2 weeks ago and another 2nd place finish looking like on the books here today. The last 5 rounds would be 2-4, 4-2-2. So this man has really kind of found his stride here at the end of 2025. On screen, there he is.
Love to see it.
The luscious locks flowing.
The locks flowing. I don't know what we will do if Wyatt Wilkin ever decides to cut his hair short. I mean, at this point, he's known as the Luscious Locks. I don't know if that's a nickname he wants, but it's coming into its own.
It's the most Racer TV friendly one he has.
True.
All right, Bryson Neal out front leading the way. Pitboards flying from the Phoenix Racing Yamaha team, letting him know what that gap is over Wyatt Wilkin, who is his nearest pursuer, 11 miles in. Bryson Neal should be popping around the corner here just about any moment and will be just a mile of racing left, Mikey, before he will put the final touches on a masterful 2025 season. 8 wins if he can get this one here today, wrapping up the championship already 2 rounds ago at our 2nd race back from summer break. And he is looking like he has not put a wheel wrong here in this entire race, but definitely not in these last few laps, Mikey.
It's been interesting to watch, Johnny, over the years. Bryson Neal, go to work, and as he buzzes past the pits there, and Wyatt Wilkin on screen. But I remember asking Bryson Neal, do you see yourself amongst like the greats by the time you walk away from racing? No signs of walking away. Johnny, you've been in a lot longer than I have. You know a lot of things can happen in a career. You've got to stay healthy. The machine's got to stay together. There's so many things that have to go right to continue success. But at this point, 4 championships. He is way up there on the all-time wins list. He's amongst arguably that Mount Rushmore of GNCC racing.
Oh, we got a little high five there.
The guy's having fun on an ATV, showing no signs of slowing down, and who knows where he ends up when he finally does say he's done and walks away from it. But right now, just sit back and enjoy the show, because it's sensational to watch him over the last 4 seasons.
Yeah,
well, even before then, but yeah.
Hop, skipping and jumping, and just 3 more corners until we will see a checkered flag waving. Bryson Neal, 8 wins, 2025, 4-time champion, moving himself up a little bit further on the all-times wins list. He's going to slow her down. Oh, thought we were going to get a wheelie, but we just get the big old celebration revs from the number 1 Phoenix Racing Yamaha, Bryson Neal, 8 wins in 2025, closing out the season with another dominant performance here. And not enough can be said about this man, Wyatt Wilkin, absolutely running it down to the wire, doing everything he could, and crossing the finish line. Computer's a little slow today, so give me 3 to 5 business days, but I'll get you the gap here. 13.8 seconds with 4 laps of racing complete. So Wyatt Wilkin making up about 5 seconds on Bryson Neal on that final lap of racing. And disappointed with not getting the win. You can see it on his face. But this man has had such a phenomenal last 2 races here. He is going to be an absolute force to be reckoned with in 2026.
I think the body language there says it all. I mean, you've got a young man in Wyatt Wilkin who he's had some podiums this year. There's a little smile from Wilkin. But yeah, the days of being elated for a podium, I think, are behind Wyatt Wilkin. He's taking that next step. He wants to be up there fighting for wins. He was fighting for it today, just came up a bit short. But yeah, man, I think Wyatt Wilkin, he's going to do something special next year. He's coming on right now.
All right, we'll wait and we'll watch. And here comes the big battle over the number 2 spot in 2025 action in GNCC. Will it be the number 4 of Josh Merritt? Will it be the number 2 of Walker Fowler? Did we miss John Glaude Jr.? Will he be on the podium? As far as we know, it is Merritt running in that number 3 spot. Will be on the podium here today, but Walker Fowler, seemingly from our last camera shot, appearing like he was able to get around John Glaude Jr. There is Merritt. Do not see Glaude in the frame, so Merritt now coming his way. There is Fowler, almost got to the rear wheels of Merritt. That is going to be enough, folks. Josh Merritt looking like he's going to get a podium here today, but it will be the number 2 of Walker Fowler coming back in the final lap of racing action to wrestle away that number 4 spot, and that will be enough to put him into 2nd place for the year. Josh Merritt, couple corners to go. Podium for him today. He probably hasn't looked over his shoulder, doesn't know if he's done enough, probably thinks his buddy John Glaude Jr. is still there behind him, takes a look over his shoulder, and he's going to see the big number 2 of Walker Fowler. Fowler crossing the line in 4th, and it will be Walker Fowler taking the number 2 in 2025. Josh Merritt taking a look back, now he sees it, he knows it. Those 2 will tie on points, but Walker Fowler will get the nod based on 2 wins in 2025, and Josh Merritt with only 1 win will end up number 3. A long-time career of his to finish the season in the top 3, bettering his last year's performance of number 4. But you can see him, actually, that's also Walker Fowler's mechanic. Right. But since Josh comes in first, he gets to talk to Mark first. Josh Merritt, 3rd place on the day, and 3rd place overall in the season standings. Just behind him, Walker Fowler, 4th place on the day, and earning the number 2 headed into 2026.
I mean, obviously, you know, the
Hunter Hart crossing the line there.
Crosses through.
Still no John Glaude Jr. So something happening to John Glaude Jr. there on that final lap of racing. Was in the number 4 spot, just behind Josh Merritt, and disappearing from our camera shots. Hoping it's just a bike issue or a miscue on his part. Still a phenomenal ride today for John Glaude Jr., bringing it to within 2 miles of the finish line in a battle for a podium position.
So while we wait on those podium interviews to get set up, I think Walker Fowler got to hold his head high, right? I mean, after this, finishing with a national number 2, he had the race he missed at the Boy Scout camp. And, all things considered, you know, Walker Fowler's got to feel good about how he ended this season here today.
Absolutely. I mean, putting a charge on late in the race, getting almost to the rear wheels of Merritt, those 2 starting last and 2nd to last, riding their way all the way through the pack to get to the number 3 and 4th place spots and ending up number 2 and 3 for the year. Bryson Neal obviously locking down the championship 2 rounds ago, but that was an absolute battle between Josh Merritt, Walker Fowler, and Hunter Hart.
And it sounds like Zach Herron is ready. We got the bird's eye view on Zach Herron standing by with the Bidwell Bullet, Bryson Neal.
All right, thanks. Hanging out down here in the pits. Everybody wants to chat it up with the champ. Bryson Neal, man, we already wrapped up the championship, but as always, you go out there and give it 100%. You come across in the number 1 spot, man. Talk about closing out the 2025 season in the way that you know best, out on top.
Yeah, man, feels absolutely great. This race, it's the granddaddy of them all. It's such a big, huge spectacle. So many sponsors, so many fans come out. So this is the one you want to win. And it's the biggest turnout of the year. The fans are always crazy. The track's amazing. I mean, we got perfect weather. A little bit chilly in the morning, but man, this is perfect riding weather. The track out there was amazing. And dang, it feels good. It feels so good to go out on top and click off another win. And man, this Phoenix ATV Yamaha, it was absolutely ripping today. It felt amazing.
we reflected already on the season, like we said, wrapped up the title, already kind of thinking forward. Do we take a reset? You gotta kind of have to take a breath, right, to get reset for next season, or is it right back to the grindstone?
No, I'm ready for a break, to be honest with you. I was just telling Dad when he was driving to the race yesterday morning, I was like, man, Big Buck just seems like a blur now. It just seems so far away, and we get a short off season, and before you know it, we're right back at it. So this month of November, I want to try to catch up with the family and the friends and the things we've been neglecting, because we're always spending all of our free time racing on the weekends. Try to have some good food, hang out with family and friends, enjoy some stuff, and then man, we're looking forward to the next year. Like you said, going out with the win on top, kicking off last weekend, and then this race as well. The program's dialed. We just feel so strong. We feel so solid, and we're just so ready to get to the winter break. We got some things that we're talking about, maybe adding new to the program next year. We're excited about that, to release some things in the future. But all in all, man, 2026, Bidwell Bullet and this Phoenix ATV Yamaha racing team, we're ready to keep fighting and hopefully keep winning championships.
I love it. An impressive ride. Bryson Neal goes out on top.
Well, Mikey, I don't know what you heard there, but I heard much to the dismay of the female fans of GNCC Racing. Bryson Neal talking about good food in the offseason. So it looks like we might have a fluffy Bryson Neal showing up to round number 1. Not going to happen. Just kidding. Nope. He is a chiseled Greek god, trains so feverishly, and great genetics as well. Looking like he's ready, sounding ready to come back and defend that title again in 2026, but he's got some company behind him. Yeah. Guys like Wyatt Wilkin finishing second today, Josh Merritt finishing third, and actually it looks like we do have Jackson Burrell ready with the luscious locks of Wyatt Wilkin there in the number 2 spot for the day.
I am indeed with the luscious locks of Wyatt Wilkin here. Second place on the day, Wyatt. I know you want that top spot, but man, what a way to go out of 2025 right here on the podium in the second place position.
Yeah, dude, it was an awesome day. Got out to a good start. Austin had a good jump, and then him and B. Neal came together in the first corner, and I used it to my advantage, tucked in under him, and came out with second. Followed along with Austin there for a little bit. He was making a couple mistakes, got by him, and then got to the lead, and I haven't led in a long time. So me and my mechanic were talking this past week. He was like, dude, we're going to have to figure out what you got to do to take down Bryson, and he was like, are you ready to lead? And I thought I was until I got out there. My God, I pumped up like no other, dude. My arms were on fire, and I was like, oh man, I'm not ready to lead just yet, or at least I wasn't ready to, my body wasn't ready to go that fast, and pulled a little gap, and then Bryson just slowly kept reeling me in, and here when we pitted, I pitted the lap before Bryson, and he took the advantage, went on, and put a little gap on me, 10-15 seconds, and it was just enough where I couldn't see him just to figure out how he caught me. Followed along there. I told my girlfriend as soon as I finished, I was like, we should have pit with Bryson, that way I could just latch on to him, but no, it was a good day there at the end, just kind of got a little bit closer, but dude, I'm happy. It was a good day.
Yeah, big congratulations to you on a way to finish out this 2025 season. That's been very good to you, Wyatt. Some good experience here today, leading the way, man. How you feeling going into 2026? What's the plans?
Same as always. I'm amped. I'm having fun doing this, riding my four-wheeler, enjoying everybody, talking to everybody at the race. Just, dude, I'm blessed. It's an awesome sport, and just I'm gonna keep eating it up. I gotta figure out what I gotta do to get to this guy. I'm figuring it out little by little, but I got 3-4 months. We'll come out swinging around 1.
He's ready for the top spot, guys. That's Wyatt Wilkin, your second place.
That is a very, very happy Wyatt Wilkin, and good to see. He's ridden so well, especially these last few races, and really just, it looks like we may have had our leaders come in that XC2 class. Looking to see, that is Elijah Edmondson there with 4 laps complete. Elijah Edmondson taking the win, according to our live timing and scoring, in the 13th place spot overall in that XC2 Pro-Am class. But I think we may have today's 3rd place finisher and number 3 for the year, Josh Merritt, down at the finish line with our man, Jackson Burrell.
We do indeed have Josh Merritt. Josh, great ride for you here today, finishing ahead of the competitors you needed to. Not quite able to get the points you needed, however, but still a great ride for you. Take us through your thoughts on today.
Oh, man, I'm happy with today. This is awesome. Great racing out there. The guys, we're battling hard, and that's what we like. And coming from dead last going into the second corner to 3rd place today on Ironman, you have to make a lot of passes and go really fast to be able to make that many passes. So I'm happy with my performance, and I lost 1 digit. I'm gonna be number 3 next year. That's what I wanted. Number 2 would have been awesome, but I'm not number 4 again, and we're moving forward still.
Yeah, going to take the intimidator role going into next year. What do you think about 2025 as a whole? How you feel going into next year, 2026?
I had a really slow start to this season, just with the new setup. I finally figured it out and gained a ton of points at the end of the year. I'm happy. Going into 2026, we're gonna be charging hard, and hopefully we can go for that championship. So super excited for Bryson and then Wyatt getting first and second, and just being out on the box again to finish the year. I'm on a high, so this is awesome.
There it is, a happy third place. That's Josh Merritt.
I'm ready for Big Buck, man.
Let's go. Let's load this. Hey, can we tear these cameras down and head down to Big Buck and run that next weekend? That'd be great.
That was just a crazy, crazy season all around. And, Josh kind of summarized it really well for himself he wanted that number 2. Obviously, that was the goal coming into today, but able to hang on and improve to a national number 3 going into 2026. Pretty impressive stuff. Take a look now at the Specialized race recap. An overcast day in Indiana in October. Chilly, not quite frosty, but chilly. And, oh, by the way, look at that flag, man. That is absolutely beautiful. That is, it's enormous. I don't know how tall it is, but it's tall as the trees. XC1 Pro Class off and rolling. How about this, Johnny? The 703 Austin Abney grabs a hole shot, led this race early. This is his last full season as a pro. We'll put it that way. I'm sure we'll see Austin Abney around and about, but you got to feel good for the Indiana native to at least pull the hole shot. He'll get to talk about that a little bit on the podium as well. And then, of course, the XC2 class. The number 97 on the machine, who was that, Johnny? They grabbed that hole shot. I got
Adam Grandin, or a visiting rider from Canada, grabbed the hole shot in our XC2 class, and it was an absolute melee early on in XC1. Yes. Look at all these riders just charging their way through the tight Indiana trees, and then we see the battle as we had riders like Josh Merritt, Walker Fowler, Hunter Hart trying to charge their way through the pack to get up and battle, but it was this guy, Wyatt Wilkin, out front early, leading the way. Bryson Neal, slow to track him down, but once he got his mojo going, he just proved to be too much for everybody and was able to get around Wyatt. But man, at this point in the race, Wyatt was on rails and just continuing to hold that gap over Bryson Neal.
Yeah, just an impressive ride to Bidwell Bullet once he found his way out front. Of course, we heard Wyatt Wilkin in the post-race talk a little bit about the pit strategy. Wishes he had kind of replicated the pit strategy of Bryson Neal. Wasn't able to latch onto him, and this was a costly mistake by Wyatt Wilkin there, tagging a tree and really losing some time, and that might have been the big difference maker for him.
It was. Being at the end of the race, the gap was only 13 seconds. That was several seconds that Wyatt was off that machine. May have been the tail of the tape, but Bryson Neal continuing to lead the way up Ironman Hill, saluting the fans, getting them going. Wyatt Wilkin just behind him, giving chase. The nuns of Ironman Hill. Wyatt Wilkin get a little loose late in this one, trying to throw everything he had at it to try to track down our 4-time and defending champion Bryson Neal, but not able to get it done in the end.
We saw a lot of position swapping. Josh Merritt finally found his way to the front of that pack, ended up in that 3 position. But boy, the battle behind him, John Clauda, Walker Fowler, Hunter Hart, all back and forth. We did math about 100 times, but it was the Bidwell Bullet coming in, grabbing a win to cap off the 2025 season, a little icing on the cake, and he is still your national champion, now 4 under his belt after this season. So there is a look at your top 10. Neal, Wilkin, and Merritt rounding out the box. Walker Fowler 4th, Hunter Hart actually ending up 5th. Man, so bad news for John Clauda Jr. outside of the top 10 there, as McGill, the Gator, takes 6th. Stephen Harrell, Boric, Austin Abney, and Jay Shad going to round out your top 10. And sounds like we've got a bonus interview. I think Zach's standing by with our XC2 winner.
Hey, thanks, guys. Yeah, back down here in the pits. A really cool story we wanted to celebrate. Elijah Edmondson back with us here at GNCC Racing. Elijah, man, it's your story to tell. A pretty serious injury earlier this year. We weren't sure if we were going to see you back at GNCC Racing at all, let alone back on the top step. Man, you get the XC2 win. Take us through kind of your journey and how good it feels to be back on top.
Oh, man, it feels great. I've been through so much with this whole accident thing, learning how to walk, learning how to talk, and, man, to be able to come out here and do this is, I don't even know what to say. It's so awesome, and yeah, I'm tearing up a little bit.
Hey, absolutely, man. I completely understand. You've got the family around you. We've had countless riders come up in the last couple of minutes. We talk about GNCC being a family, but when you come back from something like what you've had to overcome, it really shows how much everybody's got your back, right?
Of course it does. Everyone that helps me out is amazing. My mom and dad, I couldn't do it without them, and my beautiful girlfriend, everyone that supports me. I really love you guys, and I hope we can keep doing this.
I love it, man. Go get ready for the podium celebration. Elijah Evanson back with us at GNCC, back on top.
That's as cool. That is what GNCC is all about right there. A young man who, you know, again, almost kind of like the Jay Shad situation, the Walker Fowler situation. You wonder, is this young man ever going to be able to throw his leg over an ATV and race again? He can, and he can compete at a high level in the XC2, taking a win.
Well, Mikey, not to pour, extra sentiment on that, but we're not talking about just racing again. As he mentioned, this was such a serious head injury. He literally had to learn his motor skills again, how to walk, how to talk. There was not a great prognosis there for a while, but it just shows with hard work, dedication, and great people around you, not only in a span of less than a year's time is he back to walking, talking, and racing, but winning an XC2 race in GNCC just as he did the day before his very serious injury. That's a young man that has a ton of heart, and I think all of us here at Racer TV and all of us in GNCC say that's the feel-good story of the day.
That is absolutely it. I don't know if we should add to it. We will. Johnny, big maybe takeaways from this season and maybe today both.
Man, that was a lot. I wasn't expecting that one.
Sorry.
So, no. I mean, takeaways from the day, I think Bryson Neal proving he's coming into 2026 with the same confidence and prowess that he's had throughout the last 4 seasons. It's going to be tough for anyone to knock him off. But Wyatt Wilkin, Walker Fowler, Josh Merritt, the list just goes on and on of guys that are proving that they're in the mix week in and week out, and they're not going to make it easy on them. I think the takeaway for the season, what great racing action we had, and proving that by a 3-rider battle coming into today over that number 2 spot between Hunter Hart, Walker Fowler, and Josh Merritt, and that all was changed not only race to race and lap to lap, but mile to mile today. All 3 of those guys wanted it, and it was an absolute battle out there with Walker Fowler getting the job done. Hanging on to that number 2, surely not the season he wanted, obviously missing a race just a few rounds ago, but proving he's going to come back next year and fight for this title and try to be at the top of that list of people trying to knock off the Bidwell Bullet.
I agree. I think, Bryson Neal obviously still the man to beat. Can he make it a 5 for 5? He used to joke about those, was it Wendy's 5 for 5 or Arby's 5 for 5?
Yeah, I think it was 4 for 4, and then he had to find a 5 for 5.
So, he's still the man to beat. Walker Fowler is certainly still capable of winning another championship. He's capable of winning. I look to see him add to that wins total and continue to compete. Hunter Hart got a lot of things turned around and moved in the right direction. Maybe a couple of steps backwards from time to time, but he's still a contender.
And Wyatt Wilkin, that was I was remiss not to mention that.
Circle his name, highlight it. I think I'm going to say it. Knock on wood, no announcer's curse, at least 3 wins next year, Wyatt Wilkin. Right. I'm throwing that out there.
Folks, we're going to record this one. We're going to hold Mikey to it. He's calling Wyatt Wilkin for 3 wins in 2026. But great racing action. Absolutely right down to the finish here today. And we were kind of joking about it earlier, but almost wish round 1 of 2026 was tomorrow. I know the mechanics, the riders. Bryson Neal wants to go get chubby.
That's true.
But, as race fans, you want to just see this action continue.
But it's been a great season. And that is going to wrap things up as far as the 4-wheel side is concerned. We have got more racing coming up. We've got the Ironman, of course, tomorrow. We'll knock a couple wheels off, go 2-wheel racing. And then, of course, J-Day. How about that? Racer TV going to be doing a broadcast for the J-Day up there at Southwick on the 2nd of November. And then we head down to Florida, sunny Florida, for the Thor Mini O's at Wynn Kearns Place. And we'll be partying down there Thanksgiving week. But that is going to wrap things up for us here today. On behalf of Jackson Burrell, Zach Herron, Johnny Gallagher, our camera operators, Josh, Adam, Ryan, Adam Atkins, Kirsten, Mike Nichols, John Carpenter, Jack Renner, our drone pilot, Gabe Scholl, our spotter, Hollywood, our manager, Dan Reinhart, our second engineer, Jack Renner, engineer in charge, Jordan McFadden, our replay operator, Cam Cotter, our director, Don Hampton, our producer, Adam Gordon, and our executive producer, Carrie Jo Russell. I'm Mikey Waynes, and you've been watching GNCC on RacerTV.com.